An island for all. I can add attributes to everything. This video is purely for entertainment and does not infringe on copyrights or laws. The rights to the novel and image belong to the original author. We do not claim ownership. Don't like waiting and want to listen to this fanfic in full now? Subscribe to our Patreon, where you'll find the best fanfics. Chapter 276 Naga's Reliance. Giant Abyss Octopus. Bree's guess was wrong. The number of enemies is not a few thousand, but at least 20,000. Of course, there are demonized monsters and sharks worms attached. If only Naga and Shark Clan are counted, then it may be a few thousand words. The mad sharks are good to say. They are very honest. There are about 2,000 in number. All of them land on the end of the island, and they fight head-on with the evil shadow werewolf. This kind of battle is actually not an advantage for the evil shadow werewolf. Although the sharks have given up the flexibility in the water, they have another characteristic. That is the thick meat. It is a completely different type from the evil shadow werewolf. Evil shadow werewolves are known for their speed, and assault assassination is their specialty. In frontal combat, the evil shadow werewolf, who was over 2 meters tall, was obviously at a disadvantage when facing the mad sharks 3 meters away. The Shark Clan's arms are thicker than the evil shadow werewolf's thighs. Then, the mad sharks, full of confidence, slammed their head into the iron plate. The evil shadow 750 werewolf under Subei's hands, at worst, has fixed an entry. Luckily, there are 2 high-level entries. Like Sand 2, who has a lot of luck, there are 3 entries, and they are all high grade. The combat power is no longer comparable to that of the sharks of the same level. Evil phantoms appeared on the left and right sides of Sand 2, and with one's own power, blocked the attack of the mad sharks. Shadow tricks give him unprecedented flexibility. Even if the main body is besieged, it will switch to the phantom position next to it in the blink of an eye. Even if it is hard to tell the truth from the fake, the phantom is also attacking, and it can still defeat the gold-ranked Shark Clan in seconds. The mad sharks were all fooled. The evil shadow werewolf family has such a talented person. I have never heard of it. Moreover, such a genius evil shadow werewolf would be willing to surrender to human beings, which is really a shame for the dark race. The mad sharks became more and more angry, and they didn't care that the ocean was their main battlefield. If you don't blow up these evil shadow werewolves today, they don't deserve to be called the Shark Clan. And Santu thought so too. The withered tree crows before, let them fall into the camp and need a victory to prove themselves. These wild sharks came at just the right time. As soon as the 2 sides fought, they immediately hit the white-hot stage, and the flesh and blood wreckage flew around. Subei overviewed the battlefield on the main island and couldn't help sighing secretly when he saw the battle of the trap camp. The evil shadow werewolf is worthy of the dark race, and the fighting style is too ferocious. However, the performance of the Shark Clan was also very impressive. It is also a good supplement to combat power to subdue some of them. With this in mind, Subei decisively conveyed instructions to Santu. Santu let out a long howl, and immediately took a bottle of potion from the belt of the lower waist, and then smashed it directly on the ground. At the same time jump back and retreat. The same is true for other trapped werewolves, smashing the bottle directly. The crazy Shark Clan didn't know why, and as soon as they were about to pursue, they felt their hands and feet were sore, and they couldn't exert themselves at all. The mad sharks fell one after another. This is Potion of Weakness, Helena's latest masterpiece. The only downside is that it doesn't distinguish between enemy and me. Therefore, when using it, you have to find an upper air outlet, otherwise it is easy to kill yourself. Hundreds of wild sharks fell to the ground. A few evil shadow werewolves who retreated slowly also fell to the ground. When the weak potion was blown away by the sea breeze, Santu brought his clan forward. First, he slapped the fallen evil shadow werewolf twice. The faces of those who fell into the camp were all lost by them. Then, 150 high-level ones were picked from the Mad Shark Clan and dragged to the side, and the rest were all beheaded. The mad sharks who didn't get the trick jumped into the river long ago and yelled in the distance. These evil shadow werewolves are really depraved, to use such despicable means, and there is no glory to fight with them. Let's go and attack the underwater bastion. If it was before, then Santu would definitely not choose this tactic. But Subei's orders were above all else. Santu felt honored to be able to complete the task given by the island owner and straightened up. As for the curses of the crazy sharks under the water, it's just as if they didn't hear them. Have the ability to come up and fight again. Good job. Subei's voice was transmitted above the trap camp through the spirit of the island. Treat the wounded, guard the prisoners, and rest on the spot. The trapped camp immediately took the lead and acted in an orderly manner. Subei looked back. He is not in a hurry to subdue the crazy sharks. After being caught in the potion of weakness, there is no time to recover. Now that the entry is fixed, it cannot become an effective combat force, so it is better to look at the situation first. After the mad sharks who landed were trapped to death, the battle on the tail island was completely transferred to the water. Subei also turned his attention to the frontal battle. The Naga level that came this time is a bit weird. They should have known that Winnie and the others were on the island. As a result, so far, none of the diamond-ranked Naga have appeared. Shouldn't they think that numbers alone can win? Should not be. If the number is really useful, the Dark-Tide Murlocs will not lose so badly. Then, in this attack, where is the reliance of the Dark Clan? Subei's eyes were like electricity, and he kept roaming around. Finally locked on the river in the distance. Under the water, something is floating up. Winnie's voice came through the spirit of the island. Island Master, this breath is very similar to a giant abyss octopus, at least it has a diamond level. 35 Subei immediately ordered, the fighting forces retreat and do not leave the fortress area. The diamond level giant abyss octopus is no joke. This kind of demonized monster is extremely huge, its tentacles are flung up tightly, and the offensive is continuous. And it also has a super regeneration ability. Even if the tentacles are cut off, they will be reborn in a very short time. If the core cannot be broken, then it will fall into the war of attrition phase. Ordinary strong people, even a diamond level like Winnie, are very difficult. As for the ordinary platinum level, it basically belongs to the second. However, the giant abyss octopus is very aggressive, and even Naga can't try to drive them. In order to attract this big guy, it is estimated that Naga paid a lot of money. While thinking about it, the river surface on the left side of the island began to boil. With a loud bang, more than a dozen tentacles rushed out of the water, waving in the air, making a whistling sound. Bang bang. The tentacles whipped the rock formations on the side of the fortress island, knocking off the surface armor. The energy cannon bombarded the past and broke the tentacles, but after a while, new tentacles grew and attacked again. Elaine, who was in charge of defending the left fortress island, used magic to intercept the tentacles. Elaine's entry is control specialization, and the offensive ability is slightly insufficient. But it can also easily break the tentacles. Just breaking the tentacles doesn't end the fight. Tentacles respawn too fast. Subei took off the Longian sword and sent the order, stand on the defensive line. I will do it. Elaine's voice sounded slightly remorseful. Islander, let you down 2.5. Subei moved his fists and said casually, don't worry about it, killing strong enemies is what I, the island owner, should do. After speaking, Subei took off directly from the main island and plunged into the river. Dozens of tentacles attacked and wanted to intercept. The abyss octopus also felt Subei's breath and was ready to distance himself. The knife light flickered, and the tentacles were all broken. Subei's vision returned to normal, and he could see the whole picture of the giant abyss octopus. Magnifying an ordinary octopus tens of thousands of times, and adding hundreds of tentacles, it looks like an abyss octopus. Can't say how peculiar, but a little weird. It can't be said that something is wrong there, but it is strange everywhere. In the dark waters, hundreds of dots of light are looming. Those are the eyes of the abyss octopus. Subei calmed down and accelerated his dive. The abyss octopus with high diamond quality is still so huge, so how much material can be recovered must not be missed. He accepted this huge sum from the Naga tribe. Advertisement Chapter 277 1 knife second, ready to make octopus balls. The target that Subei was staring at never escaped. This time the giant abyss octopus is no exception. For the abyss octopus, it was a little uncomfortable. It didn't come by himself. but was provoked by Naga and chased him all the way. When he discovered Subei's island, he was immediately attracted by the rich life energy on it and turned his attack direction. Although there are 3 diamond-level mermaids on the island, the abyss octopus is not afraid. As far as its physique is concerned, it consumes all the energy to kill the opponent. The abyss octopus and the mermaid have fought against each other many times, and each has suffered casualties. Even a clan as strong as a mermaid would have to pay a high price to kill the abyss octopus. Mainly because of this demonized monster. Its size is too huge. The advantage brought by the large size is the ability to withstand injuries. Its tentacles can be broken countless times, and as long as the mermaid is hit directly by the tentacles, it will not die or be disabled. But this abyss octopus turned around and ran away immediately after finding Subei. It smelled of death. Once approached by this human, there is no doubt that he will die. Hundreds of tentacles of the abyss octopus wave at the same time, increasing their speed to the limit. Too bad Subei is faster than this abyss octopus. Subei did not intend to capture. 17 Because I can't afford it. Demonized monsters do not have the ability to efficiently absorb spiritual energy like the aborigines and dark races, and they need to constantly eat to replenish energy. If you want to feed a diamond-level abyss octopus, the sea area within 1,000 miles is all its hunting area. Where can Subei find so much food for it? Might as well kill it directly. On top of that, the abyss octopus is really ugly. Subei would rather catch a diamond-level Naga than a diamond-level abyss octopus. Brother octopus, I'm sorry. Subei muttered, and his heart accelerated again, cut off the tentacles blocking the way, and approached the torso of the abyss octopus. The Tan Wu annihilates the demons at will. Under the blessing of famous sword, even the Tan Wu demon slayer became extremely powerful. The blade light was extended 5 times, and the abyss octopus was easily cut into 2 pieces. The power of the slaughtering samurai comes into play, instantly emptying the abyss octopus's life breath. The abyss octopus didn't even struggle at all, and died stiffly, ups and downs in the water. Subei grabbed the tentacles in one hand and the torso in the other, and dragged the abyss octopus ashore. The Naga in the distance looked dumbfounded. This human being is still not a human being. How to catch whoever is second whoever. Even a ruthless character like the abyss octopus can't escape his sword. It's actually a bit too much. In order to attract this abyss octopus, even platinum-level powerhouses unfortunately lost 2 of them. As a result, the abyss octopus died on the spot without obtaining any results. After all, it's really a big loss. As soon as the abyss octopus, which had high hopes, died, the Naga tribe began to retreat. Directly abandoned the fighting shark clan, and ran away without looking back. As for the 3-eyed sea snake and the demonized monster, they definitely can't have it, so they stay there to cover their retreat. The crazy sharks who were beaten to death in the underwater bastion did not expect that their teammates sold them directly. After finding that they were surrounded by mermaids, the shark clan chose to surrender. Because Subei gave them a reason they couldn't refuse. If they surrender, they can save their lives, and they can seek revenge from Naga in the future. When the top powerhouse said this with an abyss octopus corpse, his persuasive power was unparalleled. No matter how mad the shark clan is, in the face of the absolute strength gap, they have to bow their proud heads. The last 200 mad sharks chose to surrender and were escorted to the tail island, where they were taken care of by the trap camp. The Naga ran away, and the sharks surrendered. Naturally, the remaining demonized monsters could not make waves and were all killed. The dark race on the right bank ran away after another large-scale energy cannon bombardment. Subei didn't even see what they looked like. I don't think it's the main force. The joint action of Naga and the shark clan this time. The trump card is the abyss octopus. Attacks in other directions can be regarded as feint attacks. It's a pity that the abyss octopus was slashed by Subei for a second, and it didn't work. The battle is over. Subei believes that for a long time, the Naga should not dare to come again. Unless they have new hole cards. For example, the star-level abyss octopus. Or the Naga queen herself shot it. But in the short term, don't worry about this problem. Training himself in his mind, Subei ordered to release the state of battle, To treat the wounded and to clean up the battlefield. The hill-sized abyss octopus was thrown into the clearing by Subei and began to wonder how to recycle it. He just tested it, and found that there are very few parts that this thing can use. There is a diamond grade, but the skin is not tough enough. It is not acceptable to make leather armor. After thinking about it, Subei found that this product can only be used to make octopus balls. After all, it is a diamond-level abyss octopus, and its flesh and blood contains rich energy and can increase its attributes. For lower-level combatants, the effect is more pronounced. Such a big abyss octopus is enough to feed all the members of the island, and it is not a loss. However, before cooking, it is necessary to purify the demonic energy in the flesh and blood of the abyss octopus. This is not difficult. Subei directly put his hand on it, absorbed the magic energy, and in turn promoted his own upgrade. Now to deal with the post-war matters, the abyss octopus will be put aside first. In addition, the shark clan also needs to be dealt with. Subei came to the tail island, picked out half of the sharks, refreshed the fixed entries, and waited until tomorrow to conquer the rest. Although the crazy sharks lying on the ground could not move, they could clearly see the changes in their clan. Eyes widened. What a bizarre event. These clansmen who swore to devote themselves to the darkness actually bowed their heads to a human being. Simply unimaginable. Is this still the wild shark clan known for their ferocity? The witty shark clan immediately thought of the reason why the evil shadow werewolf appeared here. It is not that they go to the enemy, but are controlled by their minds. The crazy sharks lying on the ground shouted, "Human, you are the biggest darkness in this world." Subei went to Bang Bang to knock out the shark with 2 punches. Just your kid can talk, isn't it? Just as there was still a chance to be fixed, Subei directly fixed the entry for the Komodos shark clan. These newly conquered sharks will be responsible for the underwater defense of the tail island in the future. They make up for the shortcomings of the shadow werewolves unable to enter the water to fight. This feeling of fighting to support war makes Subei very useful. The more frequent the dark race is offensive, the faster his strength increases. The only pity is that the diamond-level octopus attacked this time is an abyss octopus. But if it is a diamond level 750 Naga, Subei will not kill him. With the newly conquered crazy sharks, the rest of the crazy sharks seem to be very simple. The evil shadow werewolf can also divide half of the staff to start rest. In this battle, the evil shadow werewolf suffered the most casualties. The shark clan's impact is very strong, and the number is dominant, even with the blessing of entries. The evil shadow werewolf killed more than 20 in battle. Subei looked regretful. Santu was very open, and said, "The island owner does not need to be sad, it is their honor to sacrifice heroically in battle." Subei patted Santu's shoulder and said, "The matter here is up to you." Santu immediately took command. After returning to the main island, the battle statistics are also completed. There were no victims on the frontal battlefield. Casualties are inevitable. Several energy cannons were also destroyed. It was mainly photographed by the tentacles of the abyss octopus, and the barrels were bent. Fortunately, the power stone is intact, as long as the barrel is recast. Compared to the loot harvested, this loss is well within the acceptable range. The post-war work was carried out in an orderly manner. After calling 2 fire spirits to help, Subei officially started his cooking demonstration. Subei began to think about the octopus balls. Dulingwan and others received the news and gathered in the garden. The island owner said he wanted to show his hands, but he didn't know what new tricks he had. These silver grade wheats were strengthened by Subei's entries, and they were normally at the level of black iron. As the island owner, he can't be idle either. Silver grade wheat does not go well with diamond grade octopus meat. Grind the flour and dice the octopus. But there is no better option. Advertisement. Chapter 278. Garden rest. Even after the battle, the atmosphere in the garden was peaceful. Mostly people are used to it. If the dark race doesn't come and jump twice, it will make them feel boring. Although this battle came suddenly, the rhythm of the island was not greatly affected. The forge, alchemy room and drawing room are still working as usual. The surrounding area was in full swing, and even the diamond-level abyss octopus emerged, and the main island was quiet. As soon as the battle is over, The processing begins simultaneously. All these tasks are handled by specialized personnel, and the combat troops do not need to take care of them. After receiving the news from Sube, all the girls put down their work and came to the garden to meet. Even more critical situations have been experienced, so how can you care about this offensive? However, Sube's octopus balls are something that no one has ever seen before. The peculiarly shaped iron cooking tool was made by the island owner on the spot. Yvette watched for a long time but couldn't see the name, and was too embarrassed to ask Sube directly, so she could only get close to Winnie and ask, "Lord Winnie, what is the island owner doing?" Winnie replied, "Probably some kind of food." To be honest, Winnie didn't know what it was either. Octopus is not their staple food, but they are only eaten occasionally, when they are on patrol. The way to eat is to simply season it and eat it directly. This is also related to the living environment of the mermaid. Underwater, how can you make a fire to cook? Now seeing Sube tinkering with the batter and poking it with a bamboo skewer as a novelty. Yvette leaned over to Du Ling again and continued to ask. Du Ling is also very embarrassed. She doesn't know either. She was born in a slum, and the food she is most exposed to is nutritious meals. It's like toothpaste. You can eat enough, but don't think about how good the taste is. Zhuan Menaiu and several people are similar. Before, they only cared about training, and the food supplements were mainly nutritious meals. But they tasted better. As for Helena and Eve, I don't know. The staple food of alpine elves is all kinds of fruits, and they rarely eat meat. And their living area is far away from the ocean, so few octopuses can be seen. As a black elf, Capel is not afraid of meat and vegetables. But she didn't understand either. However, he still expressed his own opinion. This must be the unique technology mastered by the island owner. Although Du Ling, Yvette and the others still did not accept the three of them, they would not directly turn their backs on them. At this time, when I heard Capel say this, I felt that it still made some sense. Surrounded by fragrances, yin yang. Sube's movements of flipping the small balls were a little brisk. With his strength, controlling the heat couldn't be easier. The only trouble is that the octopus pieces need to be pre-grilled or they won't be cooked at all. Huo Ling sprayed fire for a long time beside him, and finally completed the task. This is after the abyss octopus was beheaded. The flesh and blood strength decreased sharply. Otherwise, I'm afraid it will be baked until tomorrow. Given the large number of people, Sube made 60 small balls in one go. A string of 3 is enough. Squeeze the salad dressing. Sube distributes the finished product to the crowd. Sube also picked up a bunch and took a sip, exactly as he had imagined. And because of the material problem, it is even more so. After all, there is no such ferocious octopus on Earth. There is also no silver-grade wheat flour. Including the materials for making salad dressings, they are also of good quality. After eating 3 meatballs, Sube felt a slight increase in his physique. It's not obvious, but it's totally a no-brainer. As expected of a diamond-level abyss octopus, the effect is strong. For the women, their focus is not on the improvement of strength. Du Ling began to think about a problem. The food made by the island owner is obviously not very delicious. Why is this kind of meatball so delicious? Is there any trick to it? Yvette's eyes narrowed, and she quickly finished her own bunch, looking a little unfulfilled. Sube smiled and gave her another string. After Helena tasted it, she gave her own opinion. If other ingredients are added, the improvement effect will be more obvious, but it will affect the taste, which seems inappropriate. 5. Eve looked at the iron plate thoughtfully, and said, "If you let the dwarves make high-grade molds, then engrave magic patterns, and apply heat to the inside of the balls, it should be able to further enhance the taste." Winnie agreed, "Yes, this octopus meat is too high-grade and needs extra processing, which will inevitably lose its flavor. I think this condiment, called salad dressing, could be improved further," Kepper said. Agatha and Maggie nodded in agreement. Mother was right. Everyone is different. However, the movements in his hands were not idle. He quickly ate the small balls in his hand, and then looked at Sube in unison. Sube smiled and said, "Don't worry, I'll just do it. Adjust the batter, put the octopus meat, wait for it to set, then turn it, and then pour the batter, The whole process is done in one go. With Subei's current strength, it is completely possible to deduce the most complete process. While making it, Subei asked, "I'll test you guys how much this thing can sell for." The women looked at each other. This is somewhat beyond the scope of their knowledge. Winnie Yvette, these mermaids, only know fighting, never logistics. Even more so with Helena and Eve, who just studied. Keppel wanted to show it, but unfortunately, when she was in the Black Elf territory, she patronized pleasure and didn't think about anything else. Don't know where to start. In the end, Juan Minyu stood up, thought for a moment, and said, "Island owner, from a purely commercial point of view, such a matching method is inappropriate, and the quality gap is too large. 5. If you really want to sell it, I think a bunch of balls are worth a gold-level ability fruit, so there should be no problem. After all, this is a diamond-level abyss octopus, which can improve its attributes. Actually, I think it should be simpler and more straightforward to sell abyss octopus alone. Except for a few island owners, most of them don't care about the taste. The main market for this kind of balls is at Blue Star, and they are made from common materials and should be a big hit. 99. Due to technical problems, a monopoly cannot be formed. These words made everyone applaud. Although they don't understand very well, they sound very professional. Subei nodded and said, "It's pretty much what I expected." Afterwards, Subei instructed, "I will teach the logistics department how to make it, and then let the members of the island taste it, and along the way, it can also improve the attributes." As for Blue Star, Subei looked at Du Ling and said, "This kind of small balls is originally a street snack. Please send the production method to the people in the slums, and the company will just sell the raw materials." Du Ling was moved. "Island owner, on behalf of the people in the slums, I would like to express my gratitude to you." Subei smiled and said, "This is not some high-end technology, so don't worry about it." Soon, the second pot of small balls came out, and everyone couldn't wait to share them. Then he occupied the stove and prepared to make it by himself. Subei was also happy and relaxed, lying down on the reclining chair next to him, watching Elise, everyone scrambling around there. It can be seen that, except for Du Ling, the rest are all players who rarely or even do not cook at all. The balls didn't form, but the face was covered with flour. Winnie was holding a bamboo stick and looked like she was facing a big enemy. Elaine and Millia were on the side to direct and assist. It turned out to be a disservice. 3 diamond-level powerhouses can't solve a ball. Subei almost laughed. As a potionist, Helena casually added some seasonings to the batter, and then the whole pot was fried. The batter is flying all over the place. Eve obviously did not approve of this companion's behavior. As a magic weave master, her movements are very precise, and she has already memorized Subei's movements in her heart just now, ready to achieve a perfect replica. Then looked at the black coke and fell into contemplation. Where's the problem? Zhao Beiwei and Zhao Hu were very self-aware, and instead of showing their appalling cooking skills, they lay down beside Subei. Others didn't stop either. These two have been here for a long time, and the island owner has never been there. It is tragic, so I will give them a chance. Advertisement. Chapter 279. Pope Lulu. Time passed slowly. With their profound strength, everyone successfully mastered the production method. Although the final product looks a little weird. Normally it should be in the shape of a ball, but it turned out to be a square. Subei was shocked. No matter what means, he can't do it. Fortunately, the taste is normal. After enjoying their free time, everyone returned to work. Subei is listening to the report of the spirit of the island. Battlefield cleanup has been completed. A large number of demonized monsters have been recovered and are undergoing in-depth processing. The crazy sharks, who had recovered from a weak state, after being beaten twice by their compatriots, did not bother to resist and adapted to their status as captives. Subei didn't care either. Tomorrow, those wild sharks will become his loyal subordinates. Although I was beaten twice, it's not a big problem. I'll have a good meal tomorrow and it's over. After pondering for a moment, Subei asked, "What's the situation on the merman's side?" Before Subei went to the sharks to choose apprentices, and saw them praying with Lulu. Words have already portrayed Subei as a savior. Subei was stunned for a while. However, in the circumstances at the time, the prayers of the merman were beneficial to improve their sense of belonging, and Subei did not stop it. Just let the spirit of the island stare. Before leaving from the mermaid territory, and sailing all the way to the entrance of the Daejeon River, there are constantly mermen coming to seek refuge. They are all survivors of the Dark Tide Murloc insurrection. 750 Now the total number of mermen on the island has exceeded 1,000. Among them, 300 are in the artificial lake on the main island, taking care of seaweed, fish and shrimp. There are dozens of apprentices in the alchemy room and the drawing room, showing their talents. The rest, under the leadership of the merman Lulu, were stationed on the island of the fortress on the right. The daily work is to arm the underwater bastion. However, the daily concentrated prayers of the merman are unstoppable. Subei saw it a few times when he was visiting the island. That scene was indeed very consistent with his impression of the church. Thinking of this at this moment, Subei mentioned it. The spirit of the island replied, according to the data provided by the master, the title of Lord Lulu should be Pope now. Subei froze for a moment, thinking that he had heard it wrong. What an amazing development. Good guy, this inattentive. There is a church on his island? Instead of going to Lulu directly, Subei ordered the spirit of the island, play the prayer record. The recording and playback function of Island Spirit is known only to Subei. If you want to figure out what's going on, just replay it directly. The spirit of the island received the order, and his eyes shone, and an image appeared in front of Subei. There are also voices synchronizing. Subei continued, open a few more. With his strength, it is not difficult to observe several images at the same time. The voices were mixed together, and he could distinguish them clearly. After watching all the videos, Subei has only one thought. Lulu, what a talent. He even built a complete church organization by himself. Lulu is the Pope, and there are 6 cardinals, 12 archbishops, and 24 representatives. And the content of the daily prayer, Subei also knew. After several revisions, the final version is now formed. The core idea of the whole article is to regard him as the absolute savior, the supreme existence. Only by believing in him can salvation be achieved. And what these mermaids can do is to serve the only Lord with all their hearts. Subei didn't know what to say. Ultimately decided to go with the flow. This church is only spread among the merman for the time being, and it is also beneficial to the loyalty of the merman. It can even improve the fighting spirit of the merman. The spirit of the island showed Subei a few clips of previous battle scenes. In the picture, the mermaids shouted to fight for the Lord, and they were not afraid of death, and the demonized monsters they killed were defeated. Subei stretched out his hand and pinched his eyebrows and asked, by the way, what is the name of Lulu's church? The spirit of the island replied, it's called the Hope Club. Subei breathed a sigh of relief. He was really afraid that Lulu would fiddle with Sujiao or something else. It would be too embarrassing. Hope it will. Not bad. If it can bring hope to the merman, then it has the value of existence. In addition, according to the information collected by Subei, belief is the key to becoming a god. This point, whether it is the Aborigines or the Dark Race, has relevant records. From this point of view, the existence of the Hope Society is necessary. Thinking of this, Subei decisively ordered Lulu to come over, as well as those bishops and representatives. Lulu and the other mermen arrived quickly. After seeing Subei, he first gave a great gift of throwing his 5 bodies to the ground, and then stood aside with a frenzied face, ready to listen to the teachings. Subei almost couldn't fix it, bhcf, but he quickly adapted to his new identity and said slowly, Lulu, I have a task for you. Lulu immediately straightened his back and said solemnly, my lord, please instruct me. Subei tapped the handrail with his fingers and said, I need you to expand your hope to the entire island, increase the number of cardinals by 2, and increase the rest of the positions accordingly. 8 cardinals. At this stage, mermaids, and dwarves each occupy 2, and the last 2 seats are reserved for the mixed race and the dark race. There will be more dark races to join in the future. I don't want to see any signs of hostility. You know what I mean. 39 I will let you know when the seat of cardinals will be added. Su Bei's remarks directly knocked out 4 of the 6 mermaid cardinals. But not only did they not resist, but their faces were frenzied. This is the Lord's test for them. It's time to show loyalty. Be sure to let Pope Lulu see their efforts. Lulu fell to the ground with a slap, his voice trembling and deformed. My lord's wish will surely come true. Immediately, Su Bei refreshed Lulu's entry. Lulu has fixed 2 entries, and the 3rd is still vacant. Refresh. 35 Boom. Orange light fills the field of vision. Preacher. Legendary. The glory of the Lord will begin here. Fixed. Ding. The entry has been fixed. The power came together, and the level of Lulu was directly raised from the golden lower level to the golden top level. The merman next to him was so envious that his scales stood up. At the same time, he secretly made up his mind to do his best to perform in order to obtain the Lord's reward. After explaining some precautions, Su Bei waved Lulu and the others back. He was thinking in the study until night fell. Du Ling's voice sounded outside the door. Islander, it's dinner time. Su Bei interrupted his thinking and walked out of the study. Du Ling didn't ask anything else, just whispered, Islander, do you want to go to Bei Wei's side at night? They said that the heating in the room is broken. Su Bei recalled. Under the regulation of the spirit of the island, the temperature of the residence has become constant, which is an excellent livable place. This kind of environment obviously does not need heating. In fact, the only place with heating in the entire residence was Yvette Winnie and the others' rooms. And it's not what they want, it's just for Su Bei's convenience. After all, as powerful mermaids, Yvette and the others are completely able to swim in the ice water. Now, Bei Wei said that the heating in the room was broken, and it was just a rhetoric. But Su Bei didn't break it, nodded and said, all right, I'll go take a look. Coming to the restaurant, the atmosphere is much more harmonious than usual. The 3 of Kepler were no longer excluded. With the afternoon cooking competition, everyone found something in common with each other. Except for Du Ling. The rest are all new culinary skills. All their own. This is obviously a lot of work, so I fixed it overnight. In this regard, Su Bei is naturally happy to see it happen. After the meal, Su Bei went to fix the heating for Bei Wei. But this requires a concerted effort. The Aborigines and the Dark Race will all be his people, and there is no need to distinguish too clearly. Moreover, he has a homologous entry for good and evil, and his way of thinking has also changed a little. When Su Bei talked about the matter at the dinner table, everyone had no opinion. The task given to Lulu is also to prepare for the future. Advertisement Chapter 280 The Wood Elves are here. With his extraordinary experience, Su Bei's heating repair work was successfully completed, and he devoted himself to new work the next morning. The first thing to do is to go to the tail island to conquer the remaining sharks. After the entry was swiped and fixed, the crazy sharks surrendered on the spot. Now on the tail island, there are 600 evil shadow werewolves, 305 mad sharks, and 1 to 100 iron gibbon people. In terms of the number of combat troops alone, it is no longer inferior to the fortress island. With so many people, it is necessary to match the corresponding fortifications and weapons equipment. Compared with the 3 fortress islands in the first half, the tail islands actually have inherent advantages. This is an extension of the main island and is directly connected to the main island. The spirit of the island can mobilize energy for defense. Su Bei is going to build the tail island into a 4th fortress island, equipped with corresponding energy cannons. Also good for fighting. Yesterday's battle highlighted the weak defense of the tail island. Only relying on the fort on the main island is slightly insufficient. In fact, more far-reaching, Su Bei is preparing to add an island to the left and right rear of the main island. In this way, the 6 fortress islands are surrounded, and the defense surface is quite complete. But it's not available at this stage. One is that the main island has not yet expanded to that point. Second, there is not enough manpower. It is enough to build the 4th fortress island at the end first. The energy cannons cast in the future will be transported separately. Lay the frame up and then fill it. With the control of the spirit of the island, the terrain of the 4th fortress began to change. Afterwards, 2 Link came over for construction and further renovation. Santu became more and more moved. Those who are guilty of it, they can also receive the care of the island owner, which is really unrewarding. Regarding the construction of the 4th fortress, it will be the main work in the near future. Tsubei brought together the main powerhouses of the evil Shadow Werewolf and the Shark Clan to discuss new ways of fighting. As members of the Dark Clan, the evil Shadow Werewolf and the Mad Shark Clan, the original fighting style stands out. Reckless. Just Leng Chuang. Not that it's bad this way. But it is not suitable for the fighting rhythm of the island. In Tsubei's operations, he always used energy cannons to wash the ground first, and then used expendable weapons and equipment to arrange the middle defense circle. The final stage is the melee combat. If you can solve it with money, you will never let your commander go down desperately. Evil Shadow Werewolf and Crazy Shark Clan, and even the Dark Clan that will join in the future, need some time to get used to it. But that's not a big deal. The Dark race is constantly attacking, and some are tempering opportunities. Even if the Dark race doesn't come, the demonized monsters will not stop. In fact, the evil Shadow Werewolves are good to say, their wisdom is not low. Before fighting Tsubei, he also carried a large number of energy cannons and was able to use them proficiently. It is not difficult to select qualified gunners from the trap camp. As for the crazy sharks, it's a little more difficult. These big guys are very stupid, otherwise they would not give up their advantages, jump to the island to fight the evil Shadow Werewolf, and then be brought down by the weak potion. Regarding their tactical assignment, Tsubei decided to stay the same. As an assault force, the sharks attacked the enemy's formation. And the underwater bastion of the 4th fortress is in charge of the mermaid and the power user. Anyway, the internal channels are connected to each other, and it is very convenient to mobilize. At the same time, Tsubei also gave the Shark Clan a task. Let each of them catch 3 sharks and bring them back as fighting partners. More than 300 crazy sharks, plus more than 1,000 sharks, is enough for the time being. With the output of the island, these additional sharks can also be raised. It really doesn't work. Sharks can still hunt by themselves and kill the surrounding demonized monsters, which can be regarded as killing 2 birds with 1 stone. After arranging the defense of the 4th fortress, Tsubei returned to the main island. Transfer the goods to Shen Qingling and Zhuangzuanhao, and put some on the trading center. At the same time, the payment was recovered and distributed to various facilities. After the work is done, the morning time is over. The Wind Fairy, who is in charge of the aerial lookout work, sent back news. A flying team is approaching. It's a hippogriff. There are figures on it. Tsubei's heart skipped a beat. Hippogriff, that is the exclusive mount of the Wood Elves. Of course, there are also 5 on his island. Under the careful care of the Lin family sisters, they are almost turning into free-range chickens. Tsubei can be seen occasionally when he goes to the alchemy room. That round body made Tsubei seriously doubt whether they could still fly. Not to mention the hippogriffs on the island for the time being. The Wind Goblin said that the hippogriffs approached and brought people. That must be the Wood Elves. No doubt about it. Tsubei passed the news to Winnie and the others, and then came to a high place. I saw the hippogriff team that the Wind Fairy said. There are 10 in total, all carrying Wood Elves on their backs. Under the guidance of the Wind Elf, the Wood Elf landed on the clearing. The 10 Wood Elves were all gold level, and they jumped off the hippogriff and saluted. You must be Tsubei, who has recently gained a great reputation. I have been greeting you for a long time, please forgive me. Tsubei smiled and said, You're welcome. The dark race has been rampant recently, and it is inconvenient to travel, so don't worry about it. 99 While speaking, Tsubei was also observing the other side. The difference between the Wood Elves and Helena Eve, the 2 mountain elves, is mainly reflected in their temperament. In terms of appearance, there is not much difference. Also tall and handsome. In terms of temperament, the Alpine Elves tend to be stern. The Wood Elves are lively and friendly. Of course, Tsubei has only seen 2 Alpine Elves, Helena and Eve, not necessarily a perfect match. The Wood Elves are quite sure. While speaking, Winnie and the others arrived. The headed Wood Elf greeted, Your Excellency Winnie, it's been a long time since I saw you. Winnie smiled softly and replied, Captain Norma, I didn't expect you to be here. After a moment of greeting, everyone became familiar with each other. The wood elf Norma was a little surprised when she saw Helena and Eve. It is unexpected that there are alpine spirits here. Wood elves and mountain elves lived far apart, so it was a miracle to meet them here. Tsubei said, "This is not the place to talk, let's talk about it in another place." Norma and others will naturally not object. They came with a mission. But before moving to the living room, Norma hesitated for a moment and asked, "Your Excellency, take the liberty to ask, do you have any dark race under your command?" Tsubei was stunned for a moment, then replied, "Yes, there were evil Shadow Werewolf and Iron Gibbon Man before, but yesterday they conquered the Shark Clan." "What, is there a problem?" Norma shook her head and said, "No, just to confirm." Tsubei didn't know why and didn't care. Since Norma did not express dissatisfaction because of the existence of the dark race, he would not make any extra efforts. Everyone came to the meeting room and took their seats. Tsubei asked, "I don't know why you came here. Is there something wrong with the Wood Elves' defense?" 95 Norma shook her head and nodded, and then explained, "Not now, but a new enemy will soon usher in." Tsubei thought for a moment and said, "It shouldn't be a black elf." Norma asked curiously, "How did your Excellency know?" 35 Tsubei said casually, "There are black elves on the island, and they say that the new king of the black elves has ascended the throne. I guess that guy will definitely do something to divert internal conflicts, but he didn't expect to put his target above your wood elves." Tsubei paused for a moment, then said thoughtfully, "Wood elves are indeed a good choice. It is meaningless to beat the weak, neither can they promote force, nor consume the opposition." Immediately, Tsubei smiled and said, "Your Excellency Norma, forgive me, I just said it casually." Norma shook her head and said seriously, "Your Excellency's guess is correct, and the queen of our clan also calculated the idea of the new Black Elf King. Tsubei has a toothache. The new king of the Black Elf, that is the top powerhouse of Xenial. If he makes a move, can the Wood Elf withstand it?" But thinking that Wood Elves also have queens, Tsubei thinks it shouldn't be a problem. It can't be that the Wood Elf Queen, like Claudia, is trapped by the erosion of demonic energy, so the fun will be great. There is no such coincidence. This is an exclusive skill book for slaughtering demon warriors. Tsubei didn't study directly, but asked earnestly, "Captain Norma, I really want to know, your queen is not afraid that you will be shot down by the Dark Tribe on the way, resulting in the loss of this skill book?" "Go." Tsubei said in his heart that he had a good face. Norma nodded, "I heard that your Excellency has lifted the crisis of the mermaid family. The queen asked us to seek your Excellency's help." Tsubei took it over and looked at it with a dull expression. While thinking about it, Norma took out a simple book from her bosom and said, "The queen heard that your Excellency has obtained the inheritance of the Demon Slayer, and specifically told me to bring this thing to you." 39 Unexpectedly, the Queen of Wood Elf heard of his fame. Demon binding chains, low-grade diamonds, release the chains to restrict the target's movement. Only demon-slaying warriors can learn restraining his mind. Tsubei asked, "The purpose of your coming here is to seek support?" Advertisement Chapter 281 Deployment. Tsubei knew that most wood elves had the skill inheritance of demon-slaying warriors. How to get it has also been considered. The biggest possibility is that he helped the wood elves to repel the dark race and obtained them from the Queen of Wood Elves. As a result, Tsubei never expected he actually obtained the skill book in advance before he arrived at the Wood Elf territory. The key is that this priceless skill book was actually sent by a team of gold-level hippogriff knights. Not even a platinum rank dare to come across such a long distance. When the dark race on the road does not exist. How to say the Wood Elf Queen is really big. She was really not afraid that Norma's team of hippogriff knights would be shot down halfway. Tsubei didn't know how he was feeling. It's complicated anyway. Why does the ally of the Wood Elves seem so unreliable? While thinking about it, Norma said, "Don't worry, Your Excellency, we have the protection of the Queen and will not be discovered by the dark race." Tsubei said no more, and put away the skill book decisively. Forget it. It doesn't make sense with these aborigines. 753. The benefits are there. There is a saying that people's money is used to eliminate disasters for others. The Wood Elf Queen was so polite and sent the skill book in advance. Although the reliability of the method is open to question. But at least there is sincerity. Naturally, Su-bei couldn't let the Wood Elf Queen down, so he was ready to speed up his voyage and kill him all the way. But Norma said, "Your Excellency, we are here to inform you by the way. Please suspend action and wait for the Queen's notification." Su-bei asked, "Does your Queen want me to wait for the moment?" and then suddenly burst out, disrupting the deployment of the Black Elves? Norma nodded. "That's right, the Queen explained to me like this before she set off. The Queen also said that she will send someone to notify me when she will act." 35 After pondering for a moment, Su-bei said, "It's not a big deal for me to stand by here, just to build a new fortress island. It's just a bit difficult to quickly support the battlefield at the speed of the island's sailing." 5 It was a fact, and Norma knew it. But she was also prepared to take out the map from her arms. The fingers moved forward along the river, and finally stopped halfway. On the map, there is a lake there. Norma introduced, "This is Tears Lake, which is about 2 days away from our clan's main defense line. If you wait there, it will be too late. Our clan's defense line is relatively complete, and the Black Elves are not so easy to break through." The 2-day journey, Norma said, was calculated based on the speed of the island. If it is a light raid, then half a day is enough. There is no doubt about the accuracy of this map. After all, this super island is the living area of the Wood Elves, and they know it best. However, Su-bei still raised his concerns. The location of this lake, the Black Elves can't be unprepared. Even if they don't send a large army to clean up, they will at least send people to intercept them halfway. From a combat perspective, this does not seem to be a reasonable plan. Su-bei went on to say, "Given the size of your territory, hiding an island should not be a problem. We will wait for the work, and when the Black Elves arrive, the success rate of the battle will be higher." Winnie and the others nodded in agreement. The island owner is right. With an embarrassed expression on Norma's face, she said truthfully, "Your Excellency, the Queen only asked us to convey the battle arrangement, but did not tell the reason, and we cannot answer your doubts." 9 Su-bei increasingly felt that his teammates were not very good. However, the other party is the Queen of Wood Elves anyway, so there should be a later move. So Su-bei decided to go to Tears Lake to have a look first. If he guessed correctly, the response troops arranged by the Queen should be waiting there. Thinking of this, Su-bei said decisively, "Since this is the case, let's go to Tears Lake first." From the map, it is estimated that it will take 3 days. "I don't know how Your Excellency Norma will arrange the follow-up, whether to follow us or return here." Norma bowed and said, "As ordered by the Queen, we will stay here until the final battle begins. During this time, I will disturb Your Excellency." Su-bei waved his hand and smiled, "You're welcome. Just treat this place as your home." Afterwards, Su-bei looked at Helena and Eve, and instructed, "Take Norma and the others to rest, just in time for you to chat more." Several people said their goodbyes and left. Winnie and the others stayed in the living room. After pondering for a moment, Su-bei asked, "Winnie, what kind of person is the Wood Elf Queen? Have you met her?" Winnie replied, "When I followed the Queen to visit the Wood Elves' territory, I saw it once from a distance." Winnie said with a memory on her face, "The impression the Wood Elf Queen gave me is that she is omniscient and omnipotent." Elaine added, "I have a similar feeling." The eyes of the Wood Elf Queen impressed me the most. Even if they were hundreds of meters apart, it still felt like the soul was seen through. Milia explained, "At that time, when we walked with the Queen, we only had the gold level, and we stood farther away. When Su-bei first met Winnie and the trio, they were top platinum. Based on this calculation, the last time they saw the Wood Elf Queen was probably a long time ago. The result is still impressive. It seems that the Queen is not simple. Su-bei's heart is almost at the bottom. The arrangement given to him by the Queen of the Wood Elf was obviously not a random assignment, but had some basis. As for what it is, Su-bei is not very clear. Anyway, these aboriginal powerhouses are not mysterious for a day or two. Just get used to it. Thinking of this, Sube said decisively. No matter what the Wood Elf Queen thinks, we will take it and go to Tears Lake first. As ordered. Everyone got up to respond and then left. Sube took out the magic binding chain skill book and refreshed it directly. After a refresh, 3 epic level entries were added, and the skill book jumped directly from the low-grade diamond to the top-grade star. The control effect has been improved several times. With this enhanced version of the demon binding chain in hand, Sube believes that the follow-up battle with the new Black Elf King will be much easier. Whether it will even fight against the new Black Elf King is a question. The one who just ascended the throne would easily leave the throne and go on an expedition? He is not afraid to go back and find that the position has been occupied, and he has to fight again. If you want to replicate successfully, I am afraid it will not be so easy. Sube calculated that the possibility of the arrival of the new Black Elf King in person was less than 30%. And the remaining 70% possibility is to send a confidant to command the army. Thinking of this, Sube felt much calmer. He gathered his thoughts, smashed the skill book into pieces, and already mastered the magic binding chain. Afterwards, Sube gave instructions to the spirit of the island to move towards the Lake of Tears. At the same time, he came to the study room and used the ability of the spirit of the island to observe the actions of Norma and others in real time. The previous question about the dark race made him very concerned. Norma couldn't ask such a question for no reason. After all, Sube had already allowed the spirit of the island to cover up the atmosphere of the fourth fortress, and it was impossible for the gold-level wood elves of Norma to find the trace of Santu. And Norma asked directly. It is obviously unrealistic to say that there is no entrustment from the Queen of the Wood Elf. What the truth is, Sube needs to investigate by himself. However, according to Sube's observation, Norma and his party did not do anything else. After they left with Helena and Eve, they went directly to the alchemy room. He also met with the forest banshee Bly and the others, and started chatting. The content of the chat is also very simple. Just listen to Bray complaining about the atrocities of the dark race. Judging from their behavior, it is very normal. Sube actually had this hunch too. 2.5 Even if the Wood Elf Queen really has any plans, she will not tell Norma and the others all. The plan will inevitably be split, and different tasks will be assigned to different teams. Even if Sube fixed the entry for Norma and the others, he couldn't ask why. Including Norma asking about the dark race. Sube speculates that the Wood Elf Queen gave Norma several alternatives. No matter whether he conquered the dark race or not, Norma has something to say. The only difference may be whether Norma will stay on the island or not. Hey, after all, if I didn't conquer the dark race, Norma and the others would be ready to go back the same way? Sube couldn't understand a little. With the habits of the Aboriginal people, shouldn't it be the other way around? There are dark tribes on the island, Norma and the others should leave directly. Sube muttered to himself, feeling more and more that the Wood Elf Queen was inscrutable. At the same time pondering, the next time we meet, just throw an entry in the past and fix it. Let your little girl play tricks there and accept it directly. At that time, it is beautiful to ask whatever you want to ask. Advertisement Chapter 282 Tears Lake. For the next 3 days, I don't know if the dark race was afraid of being attacked. Until Sube arrived at the entrance of Tears Lake, there was no new attack. Occasionally, hundreds of demonized monsters will come over. Without even getting close to the defense line, he was sent back to his hometown by the energy cannon. This makes Sube very boring. Not to mention the diamond-level dark race, at least let him grab some platinum-level gold. As a result, there was no shadow at all. Sube guessed that it might be that the abyss octopus was chopped to death too fast before, which frightened the dark race. Since the dark race didn't come, Sube didn't bother to look for them. The fixed number of entries of 200 times a day is just used to strengthen the existing combat troops. The main island combat troops have all completed the fixation of the second entry. Some of the lucky ones created a high-grade third entry, which was also fixed, and their strength soared. On the main island now, gold-level powerhouses abound. Say without hesitation. If a brick is smashed, There is a high probability that it will reach the gold level. It's just that exaggerated. Among the evil shadow werewolves and the mad sharks, the original gold level has basically completed the fixation of the third entry. In addition to Sand 2, a new digital platinum level has been added. Gold top is also not a few. Just wait for a while, there will be more platinum level powerhouses born. The only fly in the ointment is the lack of top combat power such as diamond. Sube felt that the Black Elves should be able to help him solve this problem. When the army of Black Elves arrives, grab 17 ready-made platinum level prisoners and bring them back, and they will soon be able to cultivate new diamond level prisoners. Thinking of this, Sube couldn't help but expect the Black Elves to come over earlier. During these 3 days, he certainly did not subdue his new subordinates. But the strength of the island is the same every day. After 3 days of construction, the fourth fortress at the rear has begun to take shape. Small energy cannons have been set up. When the new batch of medium-sized energy cannons in the forge is completed, the power of the fourth fortress can be further increased. As for the large energy cannon, we have to wait. In addition, the restoration work of the 3 official battleships also takes time. There is good news too. For example, the second attack ship has been successfully launched. After further modification, after the Seahorse chariot was moved to the rear of the attack ship, the number of gunners accommodated by the attack ship more than doubled, and it can already carry 20 gunners. The firepower has skyrocketed. After testing, the data of the second attack ship perfectly met the requirements. In addition, thanks to Hexlet's extraction capabilities, new alloys have been developed and are being smelted in large quantities. The armor of the Shishin and the attack ship will be gradually replaced in the follow-up. The protective armor on the fortress is also in the replacement queue. By then, the protection capability will be more than doubled compared to the present. Can withstand the bombardment of medium energy cannons frontally. In addition to Hexlet, Sube also found several other dwarves with the extraction entry, speeding up the replacement process. However, there are too many tasks for the forge, and the manpower is limited, and it is impossible to increase the speed infinitely. Sube kept sighing. Still missing people. While thinking about it, the spirit of the island reported, "Master, have reached the predetermined target, whether to drive directly into the Lake of Tears." Sube climbed to the observation deck and saw the entrance to Tears Lake. The most notable feature of this Wood Elves super island is its size. Whether it is the entrance of the Dajing River or the entrance of the Tears Lake, it is more than 10 miles wide. Even though the size of Sube's island is increasing, it is still easy to drive in. Of course, over time, Sube's island will eventually push its limits and become the new super island. At that time, if you want to come to the Wood Elves territory, you have to send a fleet. Collecting his thoughts, Sube gave a direct command: go forward. The island crosses the entrance and reaches Tears Lake. It is said to be a lake, but in fact it is so vast that it is impossible to see the edge. It is many times larger than the 2 artificial lakes on Sube Island. This is already the primary defense circle of the Wood Elves, and the air is much fresher. The breath of the dark race has basically not been sensed. Not only that, Sube also saw the fog floating on the lake, which has a strong shielding and interference effect on the perception ability. Even Sube's perception range has been diminished. As for the field of vision, it has also been reduced. Sube was thoughtful. If all the fog above the Tears Lake is floating, it would be a good choice to hide here. No amount of Black Elves are enough to fill in here. Sube speculates that the Black Elves can only deploy defenses at the entrance at most, and the main force will still go to besiege the Wood Elves and strive for a quick solution. He ambushed here, and when the time comes, he will bring the island out, which can really disrupt the arrangement of the Black Elves. Even if it takes 2 days to sail from here to the front. But as long as the Black Elves and the Wood Elves were inextricably fighting, 2 days would not be enough for the Black Elves to complete the rearming. After all, the Wood Elves are not wooden people, so they just watched the Black Elves mobilize their troops. As long as the Black Elves move, they also move. If the Black Elf forcibly changed the formation, he might kill himself. Thinking of this, Sube raised some respect for the Wood Elf Queen. This hand is arranged quite cleverly. It was mainly the mist floating on the Lake of Tears, which weakened perception and could definitely kill the Black Elves. While thinking about it, Norma and his party came to the observation deck. They were neatly dressed as they were when they came. Tsubei said, "Captain Norma, are you ready to return to your life?" Norma nodded and said, "Yes, thank you for your care these days." 39 Tsubei smiled, "You're welcome, it's all right." Norma said, "Your Excellency can stop at this year's lake, and my clan will find you." On the way here, Norma also mentioned the follow-up arrangements of the Wood Elves. They will set up a team on Tsubei's island to fight together. As for the number of people and who will lead the team, Norma is unclear. Tsubei didn't ask much. When Norma returns to his life and the new Wood Elves arrive, more information will be gathered. Not in a hurry at this time. Norma and the others left on the hippogriff. Afterwards, Helena and Eve also reported the intelligence they had collected in the past few days. As predicted, Norma and the others have limited information. Tsubei didn't care, and according to the map, let the spirit of the island move straight ahead, hiding the island in the fog. Then have started to develop. At the same time, reservoir materials. The alchemy room, the drawing room and the forge are all working at full strength. Under Moore's leadership, the Tauren made a lot of leather armor. Not only have the evil shadow werewolves been armed, but also some spare time can be used for sale. In the alchemy room, under the leadership of Helena, new potions have been produced and assembled for the combatants. The second-generation magic potion was also distributed, enhancing the power of the power user. As for the original formula, it is still configured with 753. Tsubei despised these first-generation potions, but they were still a hot commodity when they were released to the outside world. Every time it is listed on the trading center, it will cause looting. At the same time, he also provided a supply of magical potions to the special team and senior island owners. The large volume of shipments made Shen Qingling look at it. She even wondered if Tsubei had captured 2 potion masters, locked them in a black workshop, and worked day and night. Otherwise, how could it be so stable and efficient to produce magical potions? Outrageous. Facing Shen Qingling's shock, Tsubei was embarrassed to say that this was a generation of potion. You must know that the effect of the second generation is stronger, and the final product is more than 40% higher than that of the first generation. The effect is remarkable. In addition to the alchemy room, the drawing room also has good news. Now all apprentices can skillfully draw second-order magic patterns. As Tsubei continues to brush out the corresponding entries, the drawing speed also continues to improve. The Mermaid Patrol has all completed the drawing of the second-order magic pattern. Aura gathers magic lines, blood spirit magic lines, speed magic lines, defense magic lines, spell magic lines. Every mermaid is armed to the teeth. Under the full force of the magic power, the complex and elegant magic lines will flourish, bringing additional bonuses. Plus the addition of terms. The mermaid under Tsubei's command can easily hang and beat the clan of the same level. Not to mention too much, one hit 5 easily. As for the top powerhouses like Winnie, Eve personally took action to draw the 5th order magic pattern. Lift bigger. In this regard, Tsubei has the most say. He has personal experience. Winnie's 3-shot at the same time, he was quite exhausted. Advertisement Chapter 283 Wood Elf Sky Guard. Norma and his party left at noon. With the flying speed of the hippogriff, it can return to the Wood Elf territory before evening. If the Queen of Wood Elf is going to send someone to station on the island and ambush the Black Elf together, it is expected to arrive tomorrow. In addition, Tsubei would like to know if the Wood Elf Queen will send him a Wood Elf this time. Queen Claudia sent 500 mermaids, which has become the backbone of the island. Whether it's patrolling or working in production, it performs flawlessly. The Wood Elf Queen has to express herself. However, Tsubei didn't take it too seriously. Even if the Wood Elf Queen doesn't send it, he can go and catch the Black Elf. The strength of the two is about the same. Only the magic properties are different. Tsubei quickly put this incident aside and turned to another news. According to the report of the Mermaid Patrol, there are a large number of turtles in Tears Lake, which can supplement the strength very well. This was a pleasant surprise. But strictly speaking, whether it is the big river next to it or this tear-stained lake, It is actually a part of the ocean. The underwater part is connected. Turtles appear here, which is normal. Along the way, the turtles tamed by the mermaid also suffered a lot of casualties. Just in this Tears Lake to supplement. The follow-up battle with the Black Elves will definitely be a full-scale war by sea, land and air, and the stronger one's own strength, the better. After telling the patrol team to pay attention to safety, Subei let them move freely. While taming the turtles, you can have a good time at Tears Lake. Life shouldn't be all about fighting. Subei's decision won the unanimous support of everyone. The war is imminent, and proper rest is necessary. Subei was planning in the study room, but was dragged out by Du Ling, Yvette and the others in swimsuits. Islander, the rare good weather, don't be bored in the house. Du Ling can always find the right words. Subei looked up at the sky. Can't say bad, but can't say good either. Due to the fog on Tears Lake, the sun has become weaker. Fortunately, they always find a solution. More than a dozen light spirits accompany them, and they will supplement the light. While walking, Du Ling also introduced, "Island owner, I heard from Normo that this tear-stained lake is rich in minerals and is good for the skin." Subei thought to himself that you are drinking nectar wine every day, you are using a mask, and your grades are not low. Do you still need this method to improve your skin? However, Subei wisely shut up and moved forward with peace of mind surrounded by the crowd. By the way, admiring the posture of the people. The road to the beach has been covered by the spirit of the island, and there are also mermaid patrols in the distance ahead on the water. The girls were also very relieved and changed into swimsuits early. Competing for beauty and beauty, the crowd gathers together. But the most daring one had to be Kepper. Good guy, just a few strips of cloth. Subei even wondered if it could be called a swimsuit. But what can I say, it's really eye-catching. Humphrey. Yvette's soft humming sounded beside her, slightly dissatisfied. However, she looked at her slightly thin body, and she felt a little lack of confidence. The gap is too big. Seeing that her own camp was slumped, Winnie couldn't just sit back and ignore it. After giving Elaine and Miria a wink, the three walked from different directions, blocking Keppel from behind. For these small actions, Subei pretended not to see it. For all the women, harmony, the competition that should be there must be indispensable. Walking through the grass, everyone quickly came to the beach. The light spirits increased their energy output and dispelled the surrounding fog. More than a dozen beach chairs have been transported by Du Ling in advance and lined up on the beach. Du Ling and the others chose chairs to lie down, and then began to call Subei. They need a little help. Sunscreen can't be applied to the back. Subei wisely didn't raise the issue of light intensity and was happy to help. By the time everyone finished swimming, the sky began to get dark. Du Ling wisely brought the barbecue grill from a distance. The fire spirit waits under the grill to easily control the heat. Seeing that the girls took out the iron plate for making octopus balls again, Subei remembered the square balls from before. In order to avoid the collapse of Maruko's image in his impression, Subei decided to show them something else. For example, octopus teppanyaki. The octopus escaped being sealed in the batter and was instead skewered on a stick. After one operation, the finished product is released. Yvette and the others were hit again. The island owner's cooking skills are even more exquisite than theirs. Du Ling asked curiously, "Islander, where did you learn these cooking techniques?" 35. Subei said casually, "I figured it out myself. This kind of food is also suitable for opening a food stall. Let's spread it out later. The company sells seasonings." Juan Menaiu nodded in agreement and said, "Indeed, this is a normal octopus whisker, but after adding the island owner's seasoning, the flavor has improved a lot, which should bring good benefits." Yvette took the bamboo stick and cheered herself up. "Yvette, don't be discouraged. You are a combatant. You don't need to be proficient in cooking." 35. Teresa, Winnie, Elaine, and Milia smiled, comforting Yvette. "You're right." The excuse that Yvette made was perfect for them. After the previous experience, Subei severely refused Helena to add ingredients to the seasoning this time. Good guy, if there is another explosion, he will have a psychological shadow on the kitchen. Helena was very sorry and put the materials in her hand back into the box. Eve, on the other hand, looked at the coke and fell into contemplation again. There is no reason. Exactly the same action, the same process, why the island owner can succeed, to her, every time it is coke. Even octopus whisk to each other. She is a dignified master of magic patterns, a painter of fifth-order magic patterns. How many strings of teppanyaki can still be made? Sube glanced at him and left silently. Better not get involved in the kitchen wars there. You've even activated the fifth-order magic spell, where cooking is all about fighting. The three keepers are standard hedonists, and have never considered doing it themselves. Even if they wanted to eat, they would help them make it with Sube in between. Sube didn't have any objections, but Du Ling came to take over as soon as he started work. Vaguely, Sube heard Du Ling muttering, "Eat, let you eat. Give me some meat." Sube couldn't help laughing at Du Ling's resentment. The three of Keppel were free and undisciplined, but their figure was maintained flawlessly, without the slightest bit of fat. This made Du Ling, who practiced yoga in her spare time, very unhappy. Recently, they are launching a food offensive, and they are going to drag Keppel and the others into the water. Zhuan Menai watched for a while, but in the end she didn't get involved. She has storm shooter entries and no worries about fat. Stay on the beach until the sun goes down, and everyone returns. Returning together, there is also a mermaid patrol who went out to catch sea turtles. All returned full. Especially Eleanor, who came back directly with hundreds of turtles. Mighty. Sube is not surprised. Eleanor's first entry is Ocean Covenant, which strengthens tame skills. The second and third entries are to continue to strengthen. In the end, she has more than 10 times the tame ability of other mermaids. These 100 sea turtles are not yet her control limit. At this time, Eleanor has been promoted from the initial bronze level to the current gold lower level after 3 entries fixed and her own efforts. Of the 100 sea turtles tamed, 1/3 are gold. She alone can defend quite a long line of defense. The commanders of the 3 wood elf phalanxes, all of the top gold, came together in front of Sube, knelt down on one knee, and said solemnly, "The 6th, 7th, and 8th squadrons of the wood elf sky guard will obey you from now on." Dispatched. Then, under the guidance of the wind fairy, he landed in the open space. Sube discovered that the 300 wood elves were all gold level. In addition to Eleanor, there are more than a dozen other mermaids in a similar strengthening direction. There are 300 in number. Quietly, the power of the island has reached a new level. They all rode on hippogriffs and approached rapidly in a zigzag formation. As Sube had predicted, after Norma and the others left, the new wood elves arrived at noon the next day. Together, they control nearly 1,000 turtles of different levels, which are of great benefit to the defense of the underwater bastion. Advertisement: if you're listening to this novel on a channel other than Fanfic World, it means they downloaded and uploaded it without effort. We cordially invite you to visit our channel, Mundo Fanfic Novelist. There you'll find the original version of this story and you can explore many other novels of various genres. We are waiting for you to immerse yourself in a world of incredible novels. Chapter 284 Assumptions about aircraft carrier clusters. 300 wood elves are a complete battle array. According to previous information provided by Norma. The largest size of the wood elf sky guard is the squadron. A squadron is 100 members. It was further divided into 5 teams, each with 20 members. The captain of the first squad of each squadron also serves as the squadron captain. At this time, those who swore loyalty in front of Sube were the 6, 7, and 8, the squadron captains of these 3 squadrons. Sube didn't expect that the Queen of Wood Elves would be so generous, directly giving away 300 in wood elves, and they were all gold level. Once an entry is added, many platinum level powerhouses will be promoted in a short period of time. If nothing else, at least 3 squadron leaders would definitely be promoted. Sube stretched out his hand to help, and asked the 3 wood elf squadron leaders to stand up. The 3 immediately reported to their home. The 6th squadron leader was named Violet, the 7th squadron leader was named Dinah, and the 8th squadron leader was named Miranda. After a brief exchange, Sube asked Violet and the three of them to go to the conference room together with the other squad leaders. They have to figure out their mission. The other wood elves rested fierce. This matter can be left to Helena and Eve. It is not difficult to plan an area on the main island as a rest area for the wood elves. After the arrangements were made, everyone moved to the conference room. Sube first asked, "The queen asked you to follow the island in the future?" Violet turned her head and said, "Yes, we will be your subordinates from now on." 55 Alt off. Sube expected so. But when the truth came, it still felt a little unreal. Wood elves are different from mermaids. 757. At that time, the mermaid was tortured by the cursed horn, her scalp was numb, and she couldn't even get out of the territory. It was normal to ask Sube for help. But wood elves are different. Even if the new black elf king sent a large army to come, with the background of the wood elf, it would still be able to stop it. It doesn't seem necessary to send someone here. What's more, before that, the Queen of Wood Elf had already sent a Demon Slayer warrior skill book, which was enough as a deposit. Collecting his thoughts, Sube asked, "Can you tell me the reason?" Violet didn't hide it, and said truthfully, "The Queen said that this is to keep the fire. Even if the Wood Elves encounter disaster this time, we can rebuild the Wood Elves." 5 Sube nodded, "Okay, I understand. Now let's talk about the follow-up battle. The size of the Black Elves' army, have you detected it?" Violet replied, "The current information is that the official army of 10,000 Black Elves, plus 200,000 auxiliary troops, are the vassals of the Black Elves." Sube called the good guy straight. "The Black Elf is really big enough. A Black Elf with 20 little brothers. Are they here to fight or to travel?" Violet explained, "The Black Elves have always used auxiliary troops to fight the war of attrition, and when the time is right, they will dispatch their troops." Sube nodded in understanding, and then asked, "How about you? How many troops have you prepared?" 99 Violet replied, "Our 20,000 people, all soldiers, are fighting against the Black Elves." 35 Sube was stunned for a moment. BHCF, gone? The Wood Elf Queen is overconfident, or she wants to blow herself up. To even attempt to fight the 200,000 strong army of Black Elves with 20,000 people is outrageous. Moreover, among the 20,000, there are old and weak women and children. The real team is probably 5,000 or 6,000, or even less. Although the Black Elf's troops are basically auxiliary troops, but the number of them is there, and the dead Wood Elves can be piled up by the pile of human lives. Sube frowned and asked, "There should be a lot of Aborigines on this island, why didn't they get involved in the war?" Violet said with a bitter face, "There are battles everywhere now, and there is no more support to be mobilized." Sube did not expect that the situation on the super island would be so tense. He sailed all the way without much pressure. A flash of light flashed in Sube's mind, and he suddenly felt in his heart. No wonder there were not many dark race interceptors along the way. As far as the evil shadow werewolf and the previous joint actions of Naga and the Shark clan were concerned, they were quite good. The rest are small groups of enemies. It's not that there are no dark people, but they are all fighting the Aborigines on land. This is the super island of the Wood Elves. Unlike the Mermaid Sea, the land area accounts for most of it. In places where Sube can't see, countless dark tribes and Aborigines are fighting. The dark race generally fought fiercely, and it was good that the Aborigines were not bombed. This order can be seen from the rescue of the forest banshee before. It is reasonable that the Wood Elves can't shake people. Thinking about this, Sube suddenly became less optimistic. This battle is even more difficult than the previous Dark-Tide Murloc raids. No wonder the Queen of Wood Elves assumed the gesture of being a caregiver and sent 300 Wood Elves. Violet. Concentrating his mind, Sube asked earnestly, "Did the Queen still ask you to pass on a letter and let me evacuate quickly once the battle is lost?" Violet nodded, "Your Excellency guessed right. Yes, really." Sube was lost in thought. But after careful consideration, Sube decided to continue fighting. This is an opportunity. Although the number of Wood Elves was small, they had home field advantage and could still hold on to it. And he can do things on the side, and fight to support the war. Catch 200 dark races every day to replenish themselves. If you can catch the Black Elf, it will be even better. Even a little more daring. They directly raided the Black Elf base camp and arrested their commander. The Black Elf army definitely collapsed on the spot and became a mess. Subei's eyes brightened, and he looked at Violet and the others and said quickly, "It is my duty to fight against the dark race." Violet and the others stood up and saluted, and said respectfully, "Thank you, Your Excellency, for your act of righteousness." Knowing the general situation, and clarified the determination to participate in the war, the next thing to do is to strengthen the wood elves such as Violet. However, the fixed number of entries for today has been used up, and we can only wait for tomorrow. Fortunately, the refresh can be brushed up first. With this in mind, Subei decisively brought Violet and the others to the Wood Elves station and greeted them cordially. At the same time, it is constantly refreshed. There are a lot of options for epic entries. From the attributes of the entry, we can also see the bias of these Wood Elves, basically strengthening the shooting ability. This is also consistent with positioning. The Sky Guard of the Wood Elves is itself a troop guarding the sky. They are the most outstanding shooters, and at the same time have superb hippogriff control skills, able to hit the enemy with precision with their longbow while flying rapidly and bumpingly. After showing Subei how to fight, Violet said proudly, "In the sky, no one is our opponent." Subei pondered for a moment, and asked Violet to take off the quiver and give it to him. The arrows of the Wood Elves are cut from the branches of special plants and attached to the magic power of the Wood Elves, thus possessing super high lethality. The ability to kill is very strong, but the killing efficiency is too low. Subei asked Juanmenyu to fetch the explosive arrow she used. The head of this arrow is hollow and contains power stone powder. The direct explosion range is nearly 2 meters, and the fragments of the arrow can cause additional damage. Subei's original intention was to make rockets. However, there is some conflict between the positioning and the energy cannon, so I simply made it into an explosive arrow and used it again in the melee stage. In addition, there are not many shooters on the island, mainly wind goblins. But they use magic power and don't need physical arrows. Only Juanmenyu and a few ability users can use it, so there are not many explosion arrows. Now with the Wood Elf Sky Guard, these explosive arrows are mass-produced. With the hippogriff's load carrying capacity, he brought an explosive arrow with him without any pressure. Extending from this, Subei began to think about the feasibility of a bomber. It's totally possible to find out. Instead of bringing a few explosive arrows, bring a few cluster mines and throw them directly on the ground. Keeping them can make the scalp of the dark race numb. Extending this further, Subei found that he could try to build an aircraft carrier cluster. Hippogriffs are fighters, and Wood Elves are pilots. Plus battleships and attack ships are responsible for escorting. It seems completely feasible. But this one has to wait. First solve the Black Elf offensive, and then solve the personnel and equipment problems. The range does not need to be too far, anyway. The explosive arrow is not used for air, as long as it can fall on the enemy's head. He is going to blow up the dark race to the sky. At first the Wood Elves were a little uncomfortable. Subei immediately started the forging workshop and made 100,000 explosive arrows. Because the explosive arrows cannot carry their magic power, the flight distance is limited. After gathering his thoughts, Subei asked Violet and the others to put on explosive arrows for combat drills. Subei decisively helped them change their minds. After some drills, the Wood Elves learned well. Be good at using parabolas. Advertisement Chapter 285 Black Elf Vanguard. For the blacksmith, it is not difficult to make 100,000 explosive arrows. The mold is ready-made and can be directly poured with molten iron. The difficulty lies in the power stone powder. 100,000 arrows. The required power stone powder is not a small amount. There is not much stock on the island. At this time, Subei decisively activated his banknote ability. Directly sent a message to Zhuo Island Lord, I have some more magical potions. In less than 5 seconds, Zhuo replied, I want it all. I don't know what Brother Suzyan wants. Zhuo on the other end became more and more satisfied. When I got on the line with Subei, I really made a lot of money. Although buying power potions and magic pattern scrolls is expensive. But Zhao Xuanhao didn't care. In 100 years, he has accumulated countless wealth. What is revealed now is just the tip of the iceberg. At his stage, having money and nowhere to spend is the most uncomfortable thing. Even if you continue to cultivate new abilities, what's the use? Once you start a war with the dark race, it will be all cannon fodder. But with the power potion provided by Su Bei, that changed it. Not quite to the point of complete reversal, but a huge improvement. The effect of supernatural potion is much stronger than eating supernatural fruit directly. Now among these senior island owners, if anyone can't come up with 2 bottles of supernatural potions, they will be outdated. It was rare for Su Bei to find him, and when he came up, he said the magic potion. Zhao Xuanhao immediately knew that Su Bei was short of supplies, and decisively asked what he needed. Su Bei didn't want to talk nonsense, and directly sent a message: Power Stone Powder. No, Xuanhao, it's not difficult. I collected a lot of energy stones when I mined them, and it's okay to give them to my virtuous brother. Su Bei, the quantity you need is a bit large, so let's buy it with the magical potion, and you can't let Zhao Island Master suffer. Zhao Xuanhao, okay, based on the current market price, a bottle of silver level magic potion is worth about 5 kilograms of power stone powder. Calculated, by putting 5 grams of powder on 1 arrow, 5 kilograms of powder can make 1,000 explosive arrows. Su Bei wanted 100,000 arrows, which was only 100 bottles of magic potion. And it's only silver. For him, it was a complete sprinkle of water. Su Bei replied decisively, okay, just give me a ton at this price. Then came to the alchemy room warehouse and put 200 bottles of magical potions on the trading bar. 100,000 explosive arrows were used this time. When the battle is over, build another 100,000 spares. Zhao Xuanhao didn't ask any further, and packed the power stone powder and sent it over. After completing the transaction, Zhao Xuanhao asked tentatively, Brother Su Xian, take the liberty to ask, are you planning to fight the Black Elves? Su Bei, Island Master Zhao is well informed. What rumors have you heard? No, Xuanhao, I also received the news by chance. It is said that some senior island owners of the Lighthouse country are involved. I am afraid you will meet. Su Bei, thank you for the information provided by Island Master Zhao. I know it in my heart. After chatting for a while, Su Bei turned off the chat bar. He was not at all surprised by the appearance of the island owner of the Lighthouse country. Even according to his calculations, not only the Lighthouse country, but also other forces will be involved. It's just that this super island is too big, and most of the island owners will not leave the island too far, and their range of activities is limited. Su Bei has yet to meet anyone else. However, with the arrival of the army of Black Elves, the island owner of the Lighthouse country, who has a connection with the Dark Tribe, will definitely be unable to hold back and jump out to stir up the storm. They also want a piece of the pie. But since Su Bei is here, they must know. Liveliness is not so pretty. It will kill people. Concentrating his mind, Su Bei issued a combat readiness order. The members of the island are all busy. The new Wood Elves practiced new combat methods under the leadership of Violet. When they came, the Queen had already explained it very clearly. Everything follows Su Bei's command. Although the replacement of the explosive arrows made them a little uncomfortable, the Wood Elves still faithfully implemented the instructions. Hearing the constant explosions coming from the edge of the island, Su Bei nodded secretly. With the addition of these Wood Elves, the subsequent trades on the army of Black Elves will be more certain. The relatively weak air defense force before has also been greatly supplemented. Although there are Wind Fairy Tree and Mist Tree to replenish troops every day, but level upgrade is a long-term process. You can't expect the Wind Fairy to take shape yesterday, so let's go to the battlefield today. No matter how amazing they are, they can't overcome the huge level gap. The arrival of the Wood Elf Sky Guard was a perfect fit. After Violet and the others arrived, no new Wood Elves came. Su Bei didn't care either. Violet has already explained this. In order to avoid exposure of the location of the island, before the official action, they will keep silent in Tears Lake. Su Bei has no objection to this arrangement. If the enemy does not come, He will develop here. The longer the delay, the better for him. That's 3 days in a flash. The 300 wood elves have all completed the entry fixation and completely obeyed Subei. Among them, the powerhouses such as Violet have completed the fixation of the second and third entries, and their strength has increased greatly. Among them, the 3 squadron leaders all have 3 entries, and their level has been upgraded to Platinum Intermediate. The other squad leaders were also promoted to the Platinum level. The strength of the 3 squadrons more than doubled directly. Especially Violet's legendary entry, Phantom Shooter, which is another S-class professional inheritance. The effect is that every time you shoot, the phantom arrows can be automatically condensed, with some effects of real arrows. With the explosive arrow, it is really a human-shaped fort. An arrow flies out, and it can explode at least 5 times. It can definitely make the dark race feel the fear of being dominated by firepower. For flowers. In addition, with the addition of wood elves like Violet, Bran, the forest banshees could not move forward. They completely lost the idea of leaving, and settled down beside the wood elves. In addition to preparing purified holy water, their daily work is to help groom the hippogriff. Very busy. In this regard, Subei is also happy to see it. The battle with the Black Elves is imminent, and the amount of purified holy water will be stored, and it will be calculated directly according to the bucket. In other directions, the work is also proceeding in an orderly manner. And so 3 days passed. Subei smelled the demonic energy wafting in the air. There is no doubt that the army of Black Elves is coming. However, the Queen of Wood Elf did not send messengers over, and it is not easy for him to act without authorization, so as not to destroy the whole plan. Just judging from the concentration of demonic energy, it was not the main force of the Black Elves that came, but rather the vanguard. The turtle team arranged in the surrounding also sent back information. A nocturnal demon appeared at the entrance of Tears Lake and built a fort position. Obviously, they knew that there were soldiers in ambushes in Tears Lake, but they dared not come in. The number of pioneers did not support their sweeping sweep of Tears Lake. Can only make some turrets to delay. Subei immediately convened a combat meeting to prepare all personnel for combat. At the same time, he focused on asking how the island's propulsion system was transformed. In this battle, Subei prepared to let the island move forward at full speed and rush directly to the battlefield. It's just that the volume of the island is increasing day by day, and additional power assistance is required. Gabriel and others have been busy with this recently. At this time, when Subei asked, Gabriel immediately replied, according to the request of the island owner, the new propulsion turbine can run at high intensity for 15 hours, and then it will be completely scrapped. Subei nodded. 15 hours is enough. Combined with the ability of the spirit of the island, you can reach the front line in 1 day. The originally planned 2-day sailing time was shortened to 1 day, which will definitely have an unexpected surprise effect. After the combat order was issued, the atmosphere of the island became a little more solemn. In a place where Subei could not see, outside the territory of the Wood Elves, the 50,000 vanguards of the Black Elves had arrived at the combat area and began to fight the Wood Elves. Both sides suffered casualties. But overall, the Wood Elves still have the advantage. But the price is that the tree will die in a very short time. It was at this time that the main force of the Black Elves appeared. The 2 sides fought fiercely all day and night, and the fighting came to an end temporarily. But in order to make up the difference in numbers, they could only tearfully revive the trees. The innate skill of the Wood Elves is to temporarily activate the trees, so that they have short-term combat capabilities. In addition to their own strength, they also have a large number of tree people to fight with them. In the forest, the sound of weeping drifted. Unless it is a last resort, the Wood Elves will not use it. More than half of the Black Elf vanguard were killed or injured, and the Wood Elves were also exhausted. Advertisement Chapter 286 Join the war, full speed ahead. The main force of the Black Elf is actually subdivided into miscellaneous cards and trump cards. The trump card is the 10,000 Black Elves. The rest of the vassals can be called miscellaneous cards. After all, a real strong family will not become a vassal. Among the subordinate armies of the Black Elves, at most there are only the half-hearted Dark Clan, neither superior nor inferior. The rest are generally dominated by weak people. In fact, it is not only the dark race, but also the Aborigines. There are only a handful of strong families. A large number of weak clans are the mainstream of the island world. The combat power of the troops formed by them can be imagined. Don't look at the 20,000 wood elves when they are full, and there are old and weak women and children inside. Without the 10,000 black elves, the remaining 200,000 Dark Clan army would not be a match for the Wood Elves at all. As long as the Wood Elves withstood the initial offensive, they can turn defeat into victory. But the 10,000 Black Elves completely broke the balance. Unlike the Wood Elves, the Black Elves who came this time are all fighting troops. Even if there is a new king opposition, but the combat effectiveness is 757 real. Wood Elves have home field advantage, and they don't have any advantage at all. Because of this, the Wood Elf Queen had prepared for the worst. Now, the war has started. Sube didn't know where to go. Everything else in the island world is good, but this long-distance communication method is really weak. The abundant Torah certainly gives the creatures here extraordinary power, but it also kills many possibilities. At least no mobile communication has been developed, and communication is very inconvenient. Communication in the real sense basically relies on roaring. That is to say, the appearance of the human island owner has made the exchanges in various regions more frequent and more convenient. Now, Sube realized what it means to draw a sword and look around at a loss. All the personnel on the island are ready for battle. But I just don't know how far the situation is going. It has been 2 days since the discovery of the Black Elf Vanguard army, and there is no signal at all. Even a new batch of medium-sized energy cannons have been cast. As a result, the Wood Elves remained silent. Outrageous. Sube climbed to the main island lookout and looked at the mist in contemplation. And the turnaround appeared quietly. The spirit of the island reports, the night demon at the entrance of Tears Lake has retreated. They didn't even have time to dismantle the fort and left. This change made Sube's mind. If nothing else, the Black Elf's offensive was frustrated. Wood Elves are quite fierce. 39 Sube muttered to himself. He seemed to underestimate the strength of the Wood Elves. While thinking about it, the Wind Fairy also sent a report, and a group of Hippogriff Knights approached rapidly. The leader was Norma, who had left before. Sube was a little excited. Quickly heading to the landing point of Norma and the others, Sube called the main personnel along. By the way, when they arrived at the landing point, Norma saluted, "Your Excellency Sube. Stay safe." Sube returned the salute. "You're welcome. Everything is simple in wartime." "Does your presence here mean it's time for us to act?" 35 With a solemn expression, Norma said solemnly, "Your Excellency Sube, my clan has already started a full-scale battle with the main force of the Black Elves, and there will be no winner. The Queen asked me to tell you something. You can choose to ignore this battle and take Veil. Lit and the others take it away, and make sure that the Wood Elf fire is enough." Sube waved his hand and said, "I appreciate the Queen's kindness, but after preparing for so long, it would be a waste of time to leave here." Sube took a deep breath and conveyed the instructions to every corner of the island. "Prepare for battle, full speed ahead." The island began to vibrate, and the amplitude continued to increase. A propulsion turbine hidden beneath the water's surface spins to provide power. Coupled with the island's own mobility, the speed of the island's travel was quickly increased to 20 nautical miles per hour. This can already be called riding the wind and waves. After all, what Sube started was not a battleship, but an island. An island with a main area of more than 50 square kilometers and 4 fortresses. It was no small miracle that this thing could drive at the current speed. Soon, Sube saw the battery position at the entrance of Tears Lake. The night demon walked very quickly, leaving behind a dozen intact small energy cannons. Naturally, Sube would not miss it, and dispatched the Shashan to recover it. With the speed of the killing god, it can catch up with the island, so there is no need to worry. After driving out of the Tears Lake and re-entering the river, Sube felt that the blood in his whole body was boiling. This stop is nearly 10 days. He will be moldy. If it weren't for the steady improvement in the strength of the island every day, he would definitely not be able to sit still. Taking a look at the island rating list, it still ranks first. The star rating has reached more than 30,000 and close to 40,000, and it is steadily moving towards the goal of 50,000. Sube estimates that he will be able to reach 50,000 stars by the end of the second monthly ranking assessment and before the third month. Even faster. Joining the battle between the Wood Elves and the Black Elves this time, he will surely capture a large number of prisoners and join them on the island. The increase in the number of island residents will also increase the island's rating. And the higher the level, the more added. With so many Black Elves joining the island, the rating is definitely going up. There are also many dark races killed, and the materials that can be recycled are also an astronomical number. This battle will bring Sube's development speed to a new level. Woo. The horn sounded from the front. On the surface of the water, densely packed demonized monsters floated up and launched an attack. It's the Naga. They followed Sube all the way and saw the island into the Tears Lake. It's just that because of the fog there, they didn't dare to go in, so they could only wait in ambush at the entrance. The battle begins. The energy cannon roared, and the broken limbs floated up and down on the water. After confirming that there was no enemy in the fourth fortress at the rear, the sharks moved to the front battlefield, and together with the mermaid, they fought against the demonized monsters. In this process, the island did not slow down. Sube's tactical philosophy is to go straight to the front line and disrupt the deployment of the Black Elves. The obstacles along the way were directly broken through by force. The first wave of Naga intercepted was quickly defeated. It took more than a week from going to Tears Lake to the present, and the strength of the mermaid patrol has increased to an extremely terrifying level. The demonized monster didn't even hold on to a face-to-face, and the entire army was wiped out. Even Naga, who wanted to fight the autumn wind, was torn to pieces by the shark clan. Even though they have surrendered to Sube, these sharks have not forgotten the experience of being sold to their teammates before. They hate Naga deeply, and they fight extremely fiercely. Naga is crazy. First it was the evil shadow werewolf, and now it was the shark clan. What means did the human island master use? Even the dark tribes have surrendered to the enemy. Having said that, the aborigines and humans on his island would not object. Outrageous. But Naga's resentment, no one cares. While breaking through the first interception, the Shashin also recovered the energy cannon and returned to the island. Although a dozen small energy cannons are nothing, this kind of weapon that was picked up in vain is particularly delicious to use. The new energy cannon was transported to the fourth fortress for installation and placement. Now the Iron Gibbon man has a new position. He has changed his body from a thrower to a gunner, and he has an innate advantage. They have a stronger sense of control over distance, and their hit rate is quite good. And because of the powerful arms, it is more convenient to adjust the orientation of the 2.5 port gun. It was also the first time that Sube discovered that the Iron Gibbon man had such a talent. It's a pity that there were too many kills at that time, only 100 were caught. Next time you have the opportunity, be sure to grab it again. While thinking about it, the second wave of enemies appeared. It was still Naga, but with the interception, there were also forts on the shore. After the energy cannon roared, thick smoke billowed from the fort on the shore. The demonized monsters blocking the road were also broken into pieces. The agile mercenary logistics force quickly recovers the spoils. And the sharks brought by the crazy sharks were full. As the advance continued, more interception troops appeared. However, the scale is not large, and it can only play a harassing role, but cannot achieve real interception. Of course, for the reinforcements who usually travel by water, the interception of so many dark tribes is enough to make them devastated, and don't even think of reaching the Wood Elves' territory. It's a pity that the dark race met Sube. They get nothing but failure. Advertisement Chapter 287 Unstoppable. Sube's island rampaged in the river, and the sword was pointed directly at the main battlefield. This news was rushed to the Black Elf headquarters. However, there were many battles along the way, and by the time the Black Elf received the news, 4 hours had passed since Sube's departure. The commander-in-chief of the Black Elf is the first general under the new king's command, a powerful middle-level star, Hochia. After receiving the news, The commander immediately called the opposition commander in the camp, Blaze, and arranged for them to be responsible for the interception. As Sube predicted, among the 10,000 troops of the Black Elves this time, in addition to the troops under the new king, there were also quite a few opponents, a total of 4,000. On the bright side, they surrendered to the new king. The new king also forgave them. But in fact, everyone knows that it must be cleaned. Attacking the Wood Elves this time is the best opportunity. As the confidant of the new king, Hokia is naturally a faithful execution of secret orders. On the other hand, when Blaze received the news, his heart skipped a beat. In these 2 days of fighting, their opposition troops suffered heavy losses, from the initial 4,000 people, to less than 2,000. However, they did not make the Wood Elves any better, and killed about 1,500 Wood Elves. Both sides are bleeding. But Blaze knew that as long as one of them survived, the fight wouldn't stop. At this time, he received Hokia's summoning order. Although he was full of bitterness, he still walked quickly to the headquarters. Hokia didn't say a word of nonsense, and directly ordered, "The human island owner in the report is here. Your department will go to intercept it, and be sure to kill the opponent, otherwise don't come back." Blaze's face was resolute, and it was also no nonsense, and he took the order to let them die. He then returned to headquarters, taking his battered opposition forces to intercept Sube. In the headquarters, Hokia's adjutant whispered, "Sir, what if Blaze surrendered to the enemy?" Hokia pondered for a moment, then said, "You bring 1,000 people to follow, and act according to chance." The lieutenant understood. The battle can be lost, but Blaze must die. The last armed forces of the opposition must be completely buried. There was some noise in the camp, and the adjutant led his men away quietly. Immediately, Hachia issued a number of orders to let the accompanying servants set fire in the forest. Don't Wood Elves like to animate giants, so you can't even find half a tree. The last troops of the opposition marched hurriedly on the shore. They travel light. No minions, no heavy firepower. Some, but less than 2,000 remnants. Fortunately, Hachia didn't want these opponents to have no victory at all, so he gave them some troop transport vehicles to save energy. They are all going to die. It is better to kill a few more before they die, so as to reduce the pressure on their headquarters. At this time, Blaze was on the frontmost chariot, staring straight ahead with a calm expression. After a long battle, he has been able to face his own death calmly. It's just that these warriors under his command have followed him for a long time and died here, which is really a bit embarrassing. While thinking about it, Blaze heard a report from behind. "Father, Hokia's minions are following us." 5 behind Blaze, there was a black elf in full body armor. Although the appearance is hidden, it can still be seen that this is a woman. She is Blaze's daughter, Renata. Blaze didn't look back and said, "Got it." Renata said eagerly, "Father, don't we do anything? No matter whether we can stop that human being, there is only one dead end." Blaze turned around, put his hand on Renata's shoulder, and said solemnly, "You are wrong, it's not us, it's me." Blaze looked into the distance, passed through the fog, and locked the position of Adjutant Hokia. But he didn't do anything, but said slowly, "Only if I die, Hachia will be relieved, and the new king will be relieved." 5 As the former supreme commander of the Black Elves, Blaze's prestige is unparalleled. Rather than saying that the new king is guarding against the opposition, it is better to say that he is afraid of him. It's just that Blaze's prestige is too high, and the new king can't rashly kill him. Dying in battle is the best ending. Blaze knew this, so when the expedition started, he volunteered, ready to exchange his death for the kindness of the new king. The Black Elves have shed too much blood, and the internal strife should stop. But Renata obviously had a different idea. In her opinion, what kind of new king is clearly the rebel king? At this time, Renata realized that her father was dead, and immediately became anxious and said, "Father, let's go back and overthrow the tyranny of the new king." Blaze smiled, and he didn't have the simple idea of blaming his daughter. He just replied, "It's not that simple. The new king is very talented, and he will definitely lead our family to new glory." Renata was a little puzzled. Obviously it was the new king who ruined their family, So why did his father say good things to him? Blaze didn't explain much, just let the confident guards take care of Renata and tell her not to run around. At the same time ordered the troops to continue to advance. However, a secret order was also passed on. He is certain to die, but the soldiers under his command cannot die in this useless battle. At this time, Subei did not know that 2 black elves with a total of nearly 3,000 were coming towards him. He had just broken a new round of interceptions by the Naga. In order to save the physical strength of the main force, Subei defied all opinions and took action personally. The sword light flickered, and corpses were scattered everywhere. His current level has not changed, he is still a platinum lower level, but his strength has improved a lot. The attribute secret medicine that Helena configured has benefited him a lot. Every bit of improvement in basic attributes will eventually become a very exaggerated value with the addition of the God of Death and the Warrior of Demon Slayer. Not to mention the Naga blocking the way. Even if the Queen Naga came in person, Subei had the confidence to compete. The mermaid logistics force moved quickly, recovered the magic energy crystals, and sent them to Subei. Subei fights with battle, and his level increases steadily. According to his calculations, as long as the Dark Clan maintains the current interception intensity, they can reach the Platinum Intermediate level before reaching the final battlefield, which is another leap in strength. When Norma and the others came, 757 also brought the latest battle report. The new king of the Black Elf didn't come, but Hokia, the first general under his command, came. Zinyo Intermediate is not his opponent at all. And the overall battle situation. The Wood Elves used 20,000 to block the offensive of the 200,000 army, which was truly admirable. However, under the onslaught of the Black Elf troops, there were also many casualties. Thousands of people are said to have died. Subei couldn't breathe because of heartache. The precious Wood Elves died just like that, which really made him look down on them. The Black Elves must be destroyed, the remnants of the Wood Elves must be rescued, and then they must go to the island to recuperate. This is what he, the island owner, should do. If it weren't for the safety of the island, Subei would be ready to directly attack the Black Elf headquarters and hack Hokia to death. Immediately end the battle. As long as there are 15 more hours, they can reach their destination and officially start a war with the Black Elves. Seeing that the new Naga appeared in the distance, Subei decisively swung the dragon sword to kill him. But now, we can only wait for the island to rush to the front. Interceptions along the way are nothing at all. Subei is ready to do more on his own and let others save the state. In terms of sustained combat capability, he has never been afraid of anyone. The real hard battle is the battle with the main force of the Black Elves. Such a long breakout operation is a great test for the physical strength of the fighters. Fortunately, the propulsion turbines installed by Gabriel and the others are quite powerful, making the speed of the island soar. Advertisement Chapter 288 Engagement, fight all the way forward. Subei couldn't remember how many enemies he hacked to death. It is only known that several new warehouses have been built on the island to store recycled materials. Taking advantage of the gap between the battles, Subei emptied a lot of materials and used it to find weapons and equipment from the Special Affairs team. The Black Elves brought 200,000 troops this time, although they were scattered all over the Wood Elves' defense line. But there are still a lot of reserve troops. Not to mention too much, there are definitely 20,000 to 30,000 people. It's definitely not going to work hard. Subei is going to bomb for half an hour, and then let his combat troops join the battle. In addition to mines, other energy bombs based on Power Stone powder are also better. However, the price of energy stone powder is high, and the amount of each energy bomb is not too much. It's more of a special plant stuffed with popsicles. The characteristic is that it is cheap and can be mass-produced. This is the most suitable for Subei. In addition to letting the special team rush to make bombs, the Forge has also created some powerful special products. At that time, the Sky Guard will bring 2 people and throw them down from the hippogriff's back, and the effect is absolutely sour. But Subei also knows that these can only play a supporting role. What really decides the outcome is whether he can successfully kill Hokia. According to the news brought by Norma. The Wood Elf Queen and Hokia are holding each other back, and neither can take the first shot. Their strength is too strong. Just a single move will make the situation completely out of control. Even in the process of fighting, it will cause a devastating blow to oneself. As a star-level powerhouse, every blow is comparable to a large energy cannon. The Queen and Hokia may be fine, but the troops around them must be dead. Even Hokia didn't want to damage the troops in such a place. If he is called a bear commander, he will be shameless when he goes back. The 200,000 strong army attacked 20,000 wood elves, and the whole army was wiped out. As a confidant of the new king, Hokia is also difficult. In order to achieve victory, there must not be too many casualties. It is inevitable that some are tied up. Fortunately, the Black Elves brought 200,000 servants, which had an advantage in numbers, so it was enough to continue to surround them. In a sense, the key to breaking the game lies in Subei. The Wood Elf Queen knew this, and she simply stood still, maintaining the stability of the battle line. Hokia didn't care much. He had dispatched Blaze to intercept. The former supreme commander of the Black Elves also had the strength of a middle-level star. In fact, with the strength of Hokia and Blaze, they can suppress the Wood Elf Queen together. But here's the problem. In case Blaze didn't die in the battle, he survived. Then the situation is delicate. It is certain that the opposition will re-emerge and oppose the new king. This kind of consequences Hokia can't bear. Now he only hopes that if the human island owner in the report can perish with Blaze, that would be even better. From the start, after 14 hours of rapid sailing, the propulsion turbine exploded and the speed of the island was reduced. And Subei also encountered the Black Elf opposition force led by Blaze. The magic power that was powerful enough to distort space let Subei know the star powerhouse is here. But what is gratifying is that there is only one star class. The remaining Black Elves are very powerful, but they cannot defeat the island combat troops. After conquering the evil Shadow Werewolf and the Shark Clan, there were nearly 2,000 warriors under Subei's command. As many as the Black Elf opposition. Even more than a little bit. After all, there is also the 300 Wood Elves Sky Guards led by Violet. As soon as the two sides met face to face, the fight started directly. The energy cannon is frantically venting its firepower. The Black Elves charged swiftly on the shore and on the water. Just looking at their tactical literacy, they are well-deserved elites. The various equipment prepared by Subei didn't show much effect at all, and was directly broken through by the Black Elf. The battle begins at the close combat stage. Surrounding the 3 fortress islands, the sound of fighting continued. Even the evil Shadow Werewolves of the 4th fortress were mobilized to the frontal battlefield. One can imagine the great pressure brought by the Black Elves. Subei went straight to Blaze. This star-level powerhouse is definitely not something that other people can resist. Even if Winnie, Elaine, and Milia shot at the same time, I am afraid they will be at a disadvantage. However, they all have 3 high-grade entries, and they will not be easily defeated. Blaze noticed that Subei was approaching, and he was ready. The figures on both sides were like shooting stars, and the speed was so fast that no one else could catch them with their eyes. Boom! The collision between the blade and the blade made a loud noise. The shockwave spread around, blowing away the mist on the river. In a few breaths, Subei and Blaze slashed dozens of times. Subei became more and more shocked. As expected of a star powerhouse, this sense of oppression is indeed unparalleled. If he hadn't taken the attribute secret medicine during this time, he wouldn't be an opponent. Xinyao's intermediate level is already so fierce. How powerful will the new king of Xinyao's top-level Black Elf be? It's hard to imagine. It is no wonder that the development of various equipment in the island world is slow, or even stagnant. It's really not necessary. Even a star-level powerhouse like this can't solve it by preparing dozens of large-scale energy cannons. They are too fast to lock at all. Concentrating his mind, Subei threw out the Gale Slash, ready to try the depth of this Black Elf first. And Blaze, who was opposite Subei, set off a storm in his heart. He never thought that a platinum-level human could block his star-level attack. Isn't this a little too outrageous? But because of this, Blaze saw an opportunity to implement the plan. Human, I have something to ask you. During the battle, Blaze suddenly spoke. However, he still maintained a fast and furious offensive, with no intention of relaxing. Su-bei's face was as usual, and while facing the chop, he asked, "What's the matter?" "Also, why should I trust you?" Blaze said, "Just because you have the evil Shadow Werewolf and the Shark clan under your command." Su-bei wondered, "Could it be that you are ready to surrender? Although I am confident that I can defeat you, but it is not so easy. You no longer insist on persevering?" 55 Then, Su-bei added, "And you surrendered. How would your subordinates be happy? Their families are still held hostage in the Black Elves' homeland. If they surrender, the new king must not cut them all down." 5 Blaze threw out a few dark skills at random, causing the space to distort and vibrate, and said at the same time, "Your analysis of the situation is very clear." 99 While Su-bei raised his knife to smash, he slashed back with a gust of wind, but his mouth was very modest. "It's not about analysis, it's nothing to think about. If you don't know, you can't imagine that Su-bei and Blaze can fight and chat while only watching the battle scene. The magic fluctuations here are enough to destroy the toughest armor. The two were chatting and laughing without fear. After a moment of fierce battle, Blaze said, "We lost in the struggle, and even if we go back alive, there will be no good results of King Zhao. It doesn't matter that I am dead, but these warriors who follow me have the right to live." 9 Although what Blaze said was sincere, Su-bei did not fully believe it. However, Su-bei can still confirm the identity of the other party. Su-bei nodded and said, "I just said why the Black Elves there didn't move, so I'm not the target, you are." The one in front of him is the former Black Elf commander, Blaze. Su-bei said with emotion, "You Black Elves are really interesting. I accepted your request, and now, am I ready for death?" Capel had already told him what the main dignitaries of the Black Elves looked like. He has exhausted the fixed number of entries for today, and cannot guarantee Blaze's loyalty. Immediately, Blaze pointed to the distance. "There is the army led by Hokia's adjutant, and his mission is to witness my death and find an opportunity to take my head back." Blaze knew Su-bei's concerns, and said solemnly, "Don't think about me, I must die here today. I just hope your excellency can treat my subordinates kindly." Advertisement Chapter 289 Subduing the Black Elf Opposition. In the match against Blaze, Su-bei didn't play with his trump card. Whether it is Stan Wu Demon Slayer or the newly acquired Demon Bound Chain, I have never used it. But he still fought back and forth with Blaze. In fact, in the realization stage, he is facing the Black Elf, which is not what Su-bei wants to see. There is no entry fixed opportunity, cannot grasp. However, he took the prisoners forward, and then he had to fight with the Black Elf headquarters, and there were not so many people to take care of him. In case they riot, the fun will be great. But after discovering Blaze's death wish, Su-bei saw that this was an opportunity. The strength of the Black Elf has been proven in battle. If it weren't for the blessing of the entry, the merman would not be their opponent at all. Even the evil Shadow Werewolf and the crazy sharks are a little less interesting. Only mermaids and wood elves can confront them head-on. This kind of foundation, coupled with the entry, can create a powerful battle group that is not inferior to the Mermaid Patrol and the Wood Elf Sky Guard. This is what Su-bei takes very seriously. So, he's ready to take a gamble. It is hoped that after his death, Blaze's arrangement will still work as usual, so that these opposition Black Elves are willing to surrender. Of course, even if they don't vote, Su-bei doesn't care. After killing Blaze, the remaining Black Elves are nothing to be afraid of. He dashed down with a few knives to chop them all over. While thinking, Blaze said solemnly, "Go ahead, I will launch the strongest attack, I hope you can hold it." Su-bei didn't break Blaze's abacus, and directly urged the power. Magic, binding chains. A dozen chains emerged from the void at 760, tying Bryce firmly in an instant. The dark magic power he was condensing was directly defeated. Blaze's eyes widened in disbelief. Immediately, there was calmness and relief deep in his eyes. The more exaggerated Su-bei's performance, the more correct his decision. Only such a strong man is worth following. Blaze finally sighed, "If you were a member of our clan, that would be great." Su-bei smiled and said casually, "Unfortunately not. Stan Wu, exterminate demon slash." The swift sword light swept across the battlefield. The coercion of Zhuan Huang made the battlefield cool down a bit. Blaze's head was cut off. However, his expression was very peaceful, and he welcomed his final moments calmly. Su Bei still admires this former Black Elf commander. Magic power erupted in the distance, and thousands of figures rushed out from the dark. The first person went straight to Blaze's head. That was Hokia's adjutant. He's ready to take risks. While this move would put him in a mortal crisis, it was also an opportunity. And he didn't want to fight Su Bei now, he just wanted to steal Blaze's head. There was still a chance. Su Bei casually rewarded with a gust of wind, which caused the adjutant to spit blood, but he also successfully obtained Blaze's head. The adjutant's body took off from the ground, then fell from the air, and then ran without looking back. As for the Black Elf troops that came with him, they also evacuated after fainting for a while. However, Su Bei was quick-witted and flew back to the heights, sending the opponent a large energy cannon. Boom! In the pillar of fire rising into the sky, more than half of the Black Elves turned to ashes, and the rest were also injured. Fortunately, the adjutant survived successfully and ran fast with Blaze's head. Su Bei nodded in satisfaction. He played pretty well. Afterwards, Su Bei stood on a high place overlooking the battlefield, ready to make a move. But he thought too much. After Blaze's death, except for a few, the rest of the Black Elves tacitly suspend the offensive. When Adjutant Hokia evacuated, they threw down their weapons and chose to surrender. Roughly counted, the number is more than 800. The rest were killed. Su Bei guessed that the Black Elves who died in battle belonged to the grassroots of the opposition and were abandoned by Blaze. Watch the prisoners and treat the wounded. Su Bei gave the order. The Black Elf chose to surrender, and there was no need to continue fighting. In addition, the wounded also need prompt medical treatment. The Black Elf's combat power is indeed very exaggerated, and even the Mermaid Patrol has been injured a lot. As for the Mad Shark clan, hundreds of them were cut down. The evil Shadow Werewolf is slightly better. They are agile and have a better chance of evading attacks. In addition, there are evil phantoms to confuse opponents, and the direct casualties are around 60. And there are also victims on the side of the Merman and the Superhuman. The good news is that the Mermaid Patrol and the Wood Elf Sky Guard did not die directly. There were a few seriously injured, and Helena was already doing her best to treat them. The battle from start to finish doesn't last long. But in terms of ferocity, it was more than all the battles Su Bei went through combined. The Black Elves rushed to attack, still fighting in an unfamiliar area, and still achieved such a record. Su Bei also felt relieved when his heart ached. With the addition of these Black Elves, it is enough to make up for the loss. But before that, they need to make sure they don't defect or start a riot. This problem is actually not difficult to solve. Winnie, Elaine, and Millie can join hands to watch the custody. There are no diamond level powerhouses in the remaining Black Elves. The only two, BHCF, were strangled by Winnie and the three of them in the battle just now. The Black Elf remnants of the highest but platinum level are not too threatening. If they dare to riot, they will be strangled in an instant. However, judging from their actions, they are psychologically prepared for the status quo. It seems that Blaze's arrangement is still very effective. Escorted by the Mermaid Patrol and the Wood Elf Sky Guard, the surrendered Black Elf came to Su Bei. Then Su Bei saw a strange scene. A Black Elf in armor was controlled by several other Black Elves and was constantly struggling. Su Bei was at a loss. What's the situation? When the Black Elf surrendered, he brought him prisoners. Fortunately, a Black Elf explained the situation in time. The one under control turned out to be Blaze's daughter, Renata. No wonder the reaction was so intense. After all, his father was beheaded directly, and he also arranged for soldiers to surrender, which definitely made Renata unacceptable. Su Bei said to the Black Elf who was holding Renata down, "Let go of her." Those Black Elves were also sincere and defended directly. "I am going to kill you." Renata burst out with magic power, drawing her sword and charging. Su Bei didn't move. His fingers tapped on Renata's wrist, which immediately caused her to be hit hard, unable to hold the long sword. Su Bei sighed and said, "Blaze is a hero, why is his daughter so unsatisfactory?" Renata blushed with anger and wanted to attack, but was subdued by Sube with one hand. The gold level Renata, even if there are 100 of them, is no match for Sube. Renata was stunned with a knife and handed over to the patrol. Sube looked at the black elf and said, "Come and talk to me in charge." 35. A platinum high-ranking black elf stepped forward and saluted. "I am the deputy commander of the 1st Brigade under Lord Blaze, named Cantor, and should be my highest position now." Sube nodded. "Blaze's arrangement, you all obey?" Cant replied immediately, "I am willing to swear my loyalty to your excellency." After a pause, Cantor said, "If there is a chance, please kill the king and avenge our family." Sube said frankly, "Leave this matter aside. How can I determine your loyalty?" Cantor seemed to be well prepared, and replied, "It's not difficult. We have a magic weave master in our team, and we can use your blood to draw the domination magic pattern." 5. Sube also knew a lot about magic patterns. Eve would talk to him about this when he was fine. The domination magic pattern is actually an advanced version of the slavery magic pattern. The effect is stronger. It doesn't sound that offensive either. It is not difficult to draw this kind of magic pattern, but the configuration of the potion is unique and requires the blood of the ruler. This ensures control of the target. Cantor said the domination magic pattern, which means that they are mentally prepared. While Cantor was speaking, Sube secretly observed the reactions of the other black elves. The expression is a little awkward, obviously a little dissatisfied. But overall, he is still willing to accept the domination magic pattern. Although they chose to surrender, they were arrogant black elves after all. If not prepared early, it is impossible to be willing to accept the plan of ruling the magic pattern. Sube didn't know how Blaze persuaded the black elves, but since they were willing to surrender, that would be great. It is only calculated from the time. It is too late to start drawing the domination magic pattern now. It will take up to another 8 hours to arrive at the predetermined combat area. After pondering for a moment, Sube said, "There is no need to control the magic pattern, that's all. Take your time to rest, and there will be battles next." After saying that, Sube was ready to leave. Cantor couldn't help asking, "Your Excellency is not worried about us rebelling?" Sube stopped and smiled. "Why should I worry? With your strength, can you pose a threat to me?" Cantor pondered for a moment, then nodded seriously, "Indeed." Advertisement. Chapter 290. The regional mission is activated. The war starts again. The fighting subsided, but only temporarily. Ahead, there are more enemies waiting. The biggest obstacle was the remaining 5,000 black elves. In addition, there are hundreds of thousands of servants, is also a troublesome thing. Fortunately, Sube is not alone, fighting alone. Although the wood elves can only maintain the defensive situation, they still contain the main force of the black elves, preventing them from mobilizing at will. This time, Hachia sent the remnants of the opposition to intercept it, and it was already the limit. No matter how much more troops are mobilized, the wood elves will definitely wait for the opportunity. To be honest, if there was no development period of Tears Lake, the casualties this time would have increased several times, and I am afraid that there will be many victims in the patrol team in the Sky Guard. Now, it's the best ending. The victim's body was properly packed and converged on the main island first. The Banshee will make sure they sleep peacefully. When the battle is over, a grand ceremony must be held to see them off. The island continued to advance, and the speed was reduced to 15 knots. No way. The temporarily installed propulsion turbines exploded, unable to provide additional power. Fortunately, it is not far from the final war zone. We will arrive in about 8 to 10 hours. Combat units are urgently refurbished. With the exception of a few guard troops, the rest took the time to sleep to ensure physical recovery. The potions prepared before the battle were distributed, and everyone had a bottle and went to bed after drinking. Upon waking up, the combatants will return to their full state for a new battle. After repelling the Black Elves this time, there will be basically no large-scale battles within a radius of thousands of miles. And Sube, as the hero who saved the mermaid and the Wood Elves, will get a lot of support from the two clans. In addition, Sube remembered that Queen Claudia was troubled by the erosion of demonic energy, waiting for him to deal with it. At that time, They can build a deeper friendship with the mermaid family. There must be hundreds of more mermaids on the island. The same is true for the wood elves. With these personnel supplements, the cornerstone of the island is completely solid. The island moved forward rapidly on the river, and the shock brought by the battle gradually eased. Cantor led 800 black elves who had surrendered and were stationed in the fourth fortress. They were very quiet. After dealing with the injuries, they lay down and rested on the spot. The evil shadow werewolf and the mad shark clan next to them were stunned for a while. As expected of a black elf, this ability to adapt is too strong. When the black elves arrived, it was already evening. By the time the battle was over, it was getting dark. Tsubei waits for midnight on the main island. He has already selected a suitable candidate in the black elves, and he will wait until midnight to fix the entry. Grab the strongest 200 black elves in his hands, and the overall situation will be completely settled. That Cantor is very likely to become the new diamond level powerhouse of the black elves. A great addition to Tsubei's fighting force. In addition, the next battle will definitely capture a lot of black elves and take them all. Tsubei was thoughtful. It seems that the establishment of the 5th and 6th fortresses is time to put it on the agenda. Wait until the battle is over and deal with it together. After midnight, Tsubei came to the 4th fortress and refreshed Cantor and the others. Renata was among them. As the daughter of Blaze, she will play a big role in the attachment of these black elves. Renata broods over the fact that Tsubei killed Blaze and knocked her unconscious. But once the entry is fixed, there is no suspense. Loyalty is undeniable, but there are still some small awkwardness. Tsubei didn't care, leaving the black elves with fixed entries on standby, and then returned to the main island. According to the report of the spirit of the island, Naga and demonized monsters appeared in front. Tsubei has always been ruthless towards these unrepentant enemies. Without even letting the combatants dispatch, he rushed out with the Longian saber and ended the battle in 5 minutes. Clearly, the Naga didn't intend to give Tsubei a good night's sleep. In one night, dozens of interceptions were launched. Not big, but just annoying. But Tsubei is patient. With the ability to draw from battle, he does not need to worry about physical consumption. Just play with Naga slowly. It wasn't him who died anyway. When the sky was dawning, Naga had been beheaded more than 3,000 in total. As for the number of demonized monsters, Tsubei didn't count. Anyway, there were still some 20,000. Under the blessing of the famous sword, his skills are too violent. A gust of wind slashed out more than a dozen chi blades, powerful and long range. Who could stand it? Anyway, Naga didn't hold back, was directly blown up, and never dared to show her face again. One night of slaughter, Tsubei harvested a lot of magic energy crystals, plus the previous accumulation, directly promoted to the platinum intermediate level. The aura washed his body and strengthened his flesh and blood. At the same time as the basic attributes are improved, the combat power is further strengthened. But at this time, Tsubei had already seen the end of the river. Further ahead is the territory of the wood elves. At the same time, Tsubei also saw dense figures on the shore. There are no black elves, but their servant army. The number exceeds 30,000. The battle is about to begin. In the island world also sent a notification to the face. Warning, the regional mission has been opened. Please repel the Dark Tribe's offensive and kill the Black Elf Commander Hokaya. Warning, the regional mission has been opened. Please repel the Dark Tribe's offensive and kill the Black Elf Commander Hokaya. Warning, the regional mission has been opened. Please repel the Dark Tribe's offensive and kill the Black Elf Commander Hokaya. Seeking flowers. The announcement sounded 3 times in a row. Tsubei took a deep breath, and in the first ray of sunlight in the morning, gave the order. Fighting. Boom. The energy cannon began to roar, and the energy bombs fell among the dark tribes on the shore, blowing the stumps flying. At the same time, the fort positions on the shore also began to show their might, bombarding the fortress island wildly. With the roar of the energy cannon, the charge of the Black Elf servant army also began at the same time. In the sky, ear-piercing howls sounded, and more than 3,000 dead tree crows attacked from a distance. There are also enemies under the water approaching the underwater bastion. Not to mention running fast on the water. In an instant, The enemy launched an all-out attack. The island also launched a counterattack. There were a lot of minions attacking, but Subei wasn't a vegetarian either. In terms of quantity, he is not dominant. 0 But compared to the combat capability of a single soldier, it is not a concept at all. Violet took the Sky Guard into the sky to intercept the dead tree crow. With a flick of the longbow, the explosive arrows flew out and exploded one after another in the formation of the withered tree crows. Many withered tree crows were not killed by the bomb, but their feathers were ignited, and they fell from the air and fell to their death. If you are unlucky and fall on the island, you will be directly killed by the Marines. In response to this battle, the dwarves all joined the fight. Wearing heavy armor and armed with sledgehammers, they defended the fortress island. The evil Shadow Werewolf and the Mad Shark clan on the fourth fortress have already entered the battle, and the Black Elves are not idle. 200 Black Elves with fixed entries, along with another 600 people, rely on the fortifications to block the enemy. The news of the surrender of these Black Elves had apparently spread. The incoming servant army did not hesitate at all, and they attacked with extreme ruthlessness. But in the next second, he will be instantly killed by the Black Elves. These are the Black Elves who can directly attack the island. How can these servants be able to defeat them? Their numbers are many. But only there. The scales of victory began to tilt dry. Up to now, the wounded on Subei's side are all gunners who were wounded in the blast of energy cannons. Attacking the island from the water is even worse. Under the water, the underwater bastions revealed hideous, like a grinding disk of flesh and blood, smashing all the enemies. With the help of their temporary water-walking ability, they wanted to make a surprise attack, but before they reached the place, they were knocked to the ground by the skills of the Black Elves. Subei sat on the main island, controlled a large energy cannon and shot ashore, causing a series of martyrdoms and paralyzing more than a dozen energy cannons. In the sky, the 300 Sky Guards fought against an enemy 10 times their size, but they didn't fall behind. Instead they beat the dead tree crow with heavy casualties. Everywhere on the battlefield, the island is in an absolute advantage. Advertisement: if you're listening to this novel on a channel other than Fanfic World, it means they downloaded and uploaded it without effort. We cordially invite you to visit our channel, Mundo Fanfic Novelist. There you'll find the original version of this story and you can explore many other novels of various genres. We're waiting for you to immerse yourself in a world of incredible novels. Chapter 291 Traces of the Lighthouse Powers. The news of Subei's appearance immediately reached Hokia and the Queen of Wood Elf. Both sides made a decision at the same time to send the main force to attack. Now is the time for the decisive battle. Hokia and the Wood Elf Queen are also ready to take action. But before that, we need to wait for the battle situation to become clear. In particular, the battle on the river can largely determine the direction of the follow-up battle. Whether it was Hokia or the Wood Elf Queen, it was clear that Subei would not leave the island until the battle had subsided. The island wins, and Subei can free up his hand and besiege Hokia. And once the island is in a hard fight, Hokia will seize the opportunity and shoot directly to try to kill the Wood Elf Queen. The reason why he didn't act rashly before. Actually not sure about the location of Subei. Who knows if the human island owner will leave the island and attack alone. But now, Hokia has determined that Subei is on the island of 760 in the sea, so he can relax and start ranging and attack. The forest, which was already a mess, was once again devastated. This time, the Black Elves came with a large number of servants, as well as various war weapons. Such as the artillery kodo. A kodo is a rhino-like creature, but much larger. The temperament is docile, the skin is rough and the flesh is thick. It is precisely because of this characteristic that the Black Elf installed a turret on the back of the kodo beast, and has the ability to move combat. Moreover, in order to deal with the Wood Elves, the energy cannons brought by the Black Elves are all fire type. Every time it roared, a fire would be ignited in the falling bomb. Most of the tree people activated by Wood Elves were killed by fire energy cannons. Now, with Hokia's order for a full-scale attack, all the artillery kodos were dispatched, which immediately brought unprecedented pressure to the Wood Elves. In addition to the artillery kodos, the Black Elves also have other weapons of war, all created for killing. On the other hand, the Wood Elves, The equipment is said to be close to nature. To put it horribly, it is extremely backward. If it weren't for the forest here, with enough trees, it would have been blown up long ago. Although Subei couldn't see the battle between the Black Elves and the Wood Elves, he could judge the damage of the Wood Elves from the dense black smoke column. Not optimistic. But he doesn't have time to take care of the Wood Elves now. The number of Black Elf servants is a bit large. The first batch of 30,000 people has not yet been killed, and a new servant army has appeared again. And this time, Subei found a different figure. There are actually a large number of power users poking their brains in the corner. Don't think about it. That is the island owner of the lighthouse country that Zhao Xuanhao said. They may not have come, but the power users under their command are acting with the Black Elves. And this also explains how the Black Elves transferred 200 troops to the Wood Elves' territory in such a short period of time. You must know that the territory of the Black Elves is too far away from here. But with the help of the island owner's teleportation ability, it is completely achievable. As for consumption. With the background of the Black Elves, this consumption can still be reimbursed. Compared with the cost of long-distance marching, teleportation is much cheaper. Not only the island owner of the lighthouse country, but also the island owners of other forces also participated in this matter. For many island owners, the Dark Race can also cooperate. Even happy to cooperate with the Dark Race. When Subei discovered the power users, he immediately ordered the gunner to send them back to the west. The gunners, of course, would not object. Fighting anyone anyway. Moreover, the gathering of these new enemies is also a great threat, which needs to be eliminated as soon as possible. So the new supernatural beings suffered. As soon as they got together to attack Subei's island, they were washed away by energy cannons, and hundreds died on the spot. But they are not alone. A large number of servants also exploded into the sky together. The confrontation between the energy cannons will be indistinguishable for a while, but it is very dangerous. Even with armor protection, there are still battery explosions. The wounded gunner was rushed to the rear for treatment. Fortunately, the servants' fortresses on the shore were not favored, and the loss rate was much faster than Subei's side. It's just that there is no energy cannon interception, and the enemies on the water will eventually land in large numbers. The situation has completely entered the close combat stage. But this stage is actually the strongest stage of the island. The first batch of 2,000 servants who landed did not hold on for even half a minute and were all beheaded. Then, Subei saw more than 2,000 supernatural beings killed. They did not use water to walk, but rushed over in a speedboat. Naturally, this speedboat was not fuel-burning, but was rebuilt in the island world. Not too slow. Wanting to intercept with an energy cannon, it feels like a cannon hitting a mosquito. The gunner clicked off the opposite energy cannon position and put these power users over. Subei gave the order. Then notify the Shark Clan and let them direct the shark to intercept the speedboat. Like water racing, right? Taste the power of this deep-sea mad shark. Boom. The water column soared into the sky, and the 10-meter-long giant shark overturned the speedboat, swallowed the ability user above, and spit it out after chewing 2 bites. These powers don't taste good. Let sharks evaluate. That is not as good as sea fish. Hundreds of sharks wreak havoc on the surface. Before the power user of the lighthouse country approached the coast, more than 800 people were killed. The rest were lucky enough to go ashore, and the evil shadow werewolf had already surrounded them with a grinning smile. The scene was so tragic that it was unbearable to watch. The more than 2,000 superpowers were completely wiped out without even the slightest victory. The scene made the commander of the servant army in the distance frown. He guessed that the power user of the lighthouse country is not good, but this is too bad. The commander looked at Subei Island, the power user who was slaughtering the servant army, and looked at the lighthouse power user who was cut down. There was a lingering doubt in my mind. According to the information they had investigated, the lighthouse nation was considered one of the top forces in Blue Star. Is it really okay to find them as allies? However, this question is for the above people to consider. The task of the commander of the servant army is to continue to send cannon fodder forward. Let those abilities continue to charge. The commander waved his hand. The adjutant immediately conveyed the order. Some people with the power of the lighthouse country expressed their fear of war, and they were directly cut off with a knife. What, are you kidding me? Along the way you burned, killed and looted faster than the servant army, and now you can't think of anything to take advantage of it? After dozens of heads were chopped off, the lighthouse power user finally recognized the reality. 2.5 As soon as his eyes were closed, he started to charge with the speedboat. They replicated previous battles. First half killed by a shark on the way. When they landed, they were torn to shreds by the evil shadow werewolf. The commander of the servant army was going crazy. These white-skinned wastes are less beaten than their servant army. Making them speedboats is a complete waste of resources. Boom. The entire command was sent to the sky. I really don't know how to die. Sube will not take these life and death to heart. On the contrary, the evil shadow werewolf has a lot of feelings. How could such a weak enemy dare to attack the island? An energy bomb flew, so that the commander of the servant army no longer had to worry about the pig teammates. Compared to the entire battlefield, they are insignificant. The death of a total of more than 4,000 lighthouse power users did not cause any waves. Advertisement Chapter 292 Stand tall, fight Hochia. The rapid demise of the power user of the lighthouse kingdom is only a trivial scene on the battlefield, and it is completely unstoppable. Around the island of Sube, fighting broke out in the sky, on the ground and underwater. Under the blessing of the fortress, Sube's combat troops had an absolute advantage. They are well equipped, drink potions like drinking water, and have magic marks on their bodies. To describe it as armed to the teeth is a bit unqualified. At this time, it was only the servant army of the Black Elves who launched the attack. If this can all fall into a disadvantage, then Sube really doubts how busy he is during this time. The huge amount of money was poured down, and the effect was finally reflected. Even the weakest merman and superhuman can easily kill the enemy. As for the original strong clans such as Mermaid Wood Elves, it is more than 10. After the Skyguard had defeated the Drytree, they began to support the ground forces. The exploding arrows smashed into the enemy piles and gained a lot. The rush-made explosive arrows may not be fine enough, but the power has not shrunk because of this, and it is easy to kill the target directly. When the minions gathered, the Skyguard dropped cluster energy bombs. The Skyguard exploded, and the servants' scalps went numb. Is this the Wood Elves they are familiar with? The servant army came like a tide, and fell down like a piece of weed. 17 Hachia, who was dispatching the army, was numb. He seemed to underestimate Sube's strength. However, the decisive battle has already begun, and it is impossible to make more arrangements for Sube. The main force could not be transferred, so they could only find a way to keep the servants delayed. As long as he can defeat the Wood Elves on the frontal battlefield, then Sube can only retreat. Now, the fight is timed. And the Wood Elves knew this and fought back. These Black Elves dared to set fire to their forests. It was a crime that deserved death. As the battle progressed, small groups of aboriginal reinforcements emerged from the edge of the battlefield. They don't have the strength to go straight to the battlefield, but they can still be contained by the side. Around the battle between the Black Elves and the Wood Elves, all forces are bleeding and dying. The cry of the dead enveloped the area. Sube's side is not evenly matched, only chopping melons and vegetables. To say that his subordinates fought the most bravely, it was the Black Elf. They have a bone-chilling hostility towards Hochia, and even these servants are hated. If it can be blown into pieces, it will never leave a whole body. 2 hours after the start of the battle, the offensive of the servant army began to decline. Even if they faithfully fulfill Hochia's orders, they can't make up for the gap in strength. In the past 2 hours, all the servants have been dispatched. In some cases, entire troops were killed. Even if it can be returned to rest, it is generally more than half damaged. On Sube's side, of course, there were casualties, but they were much smaller. Compared to the record achieved, it is completely negligible. Seeing that the situation began to stabilize, Sube's mind became active. It's time to slaughter that Hokian guy and end this war. As the culprit of the attack on the Wood Elves, Hokia must die. Compared with subduing a star-level subordinate, Subei felt that the friendship of the Wood Elf Queen was more important. Killing Hokiya is not only a requirement of the will of the island world, but also can weaken the strength of the new Black Elf King. Give him some trouble, Subei will not refuse. Restraining his mind, Subei summoned Winnie and the others and began to explain the task. You defend on the spot and stay on the island. Now the enemy's offensive has slowed down, hurry up and rest. As ordered. People, take orders. Then, Yvette asked worriedly, Islander, are you going to fight with the commander of the Black Elf? 55 Subei nodded, stretched out his hand to stroke Yvette's hair, and said, don't worry, I know what I know, and the Wood Elf Queen will be there for this battle, so it must be safe. After explaining the defense work, Subei set off from the island, crossed the vast river, and reached the shore. A few knives were swung out, and the surrounding servant army was broken into pieces. Including those who want to fish in troubled waters. Killed together. Looking down from the sky, you can find a light smoke, like a sharp arrow, straight towards the Black Elf headquarters. With Subei's strength, it was no problem to lock Hokiya's position at a distance of dozens of miles. At the same time, he also felt that in the depths of the Wood Elf defense circle, there was a vast amount of magic surging. That's the Wood Elf Queen. And the attacked Black Elf headquarters. Hokiya's magic also began to show. Hokiya didn't understand very well how the situation became him 1-on-2. But not important. Since the Wood Elf Queen and Subei came at the same time, he should kill them all. Returning with the heads of these two people will definitely make the new king's position more stable. He will also truly become the new Black Elf commander, and no one will oppose it, and no one will dare to oppose it. Thinking of this, Hokiya decisively put on the armor and flew out of the camp with the halberd. Hokiya is ready to intercept Subei first, and then take on the Wood Elf Queen. And Subei noticed that Hokiya's magical aura was rapidly approaching him, but he was not flustered. He already knew Hokiya's strength is only slightly better than Blaze'. If he can kill Blaze, then he can kill Hokiya. On the other side, the Wood Elf Queen changed direction and came to meet Subei after realizing Hokiya's intention. After a brief charge, Subei and Hokiya meet first. Hokiya is tall and burly, wearing dark armor and holding a 3-meter-long halberd in his hand. The overall image is one word. Domineering exposed. The two met without a word of nonsense, and they started fighting directly. Hokiya's fighting style was wide open. The heavy halberd was as light as nothing in his hands, and the attack frequency was comparable to Subei''s. You must know that Subei uses a one-handed long sword, which is mainly fast attack. But Hokiya can keep up with the rhythm with the halberd, and the strength is so strong that there is no need to say more. As soon as they fought, Subei sensed the trouble with Hokiya. Where's this slightly better than Blaze? It is completely crushing. If it wasn't for Subei's rise to Platinum Intermediate on his way, the outcome of the battle would be hard to say. But now, it is 760 without pressure. But I have to say that Hokiya has 2 brushes to become the new Black Elf commander. In the face of Subei's onslaught, the situation was still maintained. But if things go on like this, he will definitely lose first. Because the Wood Elf Queen is approaching rapidly. The magic power is stronger than that of the Mermaid Queen Claudia. The only fly in the ointment is that limited by the magic attribute. The attack power is slightly insufficient. This is also the main reason why the Wood Elf Queen postponed the shot and did not confront Hokiya head-on. Hokiya's fighting style is very restrained by the Wood Elf Queen. But now, the appearance of Subei has loosened the situation. It also gave the Queen of Wood Elf the hope of victory. The Wood Elf Queen arrives at the battlefield while Subei and Hokiya are fighting. The brilliance of the divine tree. As soon as the Wood Elf Queen made her move, a giant tree phantom appeared in the air. Immediately, Subei felt a new force emerge, making his offensive even more severe. On the other hand, Hokiya was very uncomfortable. If it weren't for his armor blocking most of the magic effects, he would have been suppressed and unable to move. Subei knows why the Wood Elf Queen is so stubborn. Emotion is a helper. It was indeed a bit difficult for her to confront Hokiya head-on. Subei received strong support and was in a good mood. With a flick of the demon binding chain, Hokiya was tied firmly. The Longian knife is in full bloom, and the Tanwu Demon Slayer has completed its savings. Advertisement Chapter 293 Kill Hokia. Regional Mission Settlement. Ring of Domination. Hachiya felt the shadow of death oncoming. The brilliance of the Wood Elf Queen's divine tree didn't bother him much. That oppressive force was all blocked by the armor. This is the Commander-in-Chief armor of the Black Elves, which has a strong reduction effect on magic effects. This is the strength of Hokia's ability to confront the Wood Elf Queen head-on. It's a pity that it can't stop the brilliance of the divine tree, and it can't stop the magic chain. Moreover, Subei's demon binding chains are different from other demon-slaying warriors. 3 epic level entries are superimposed, and the control ability is in a mess. When Hachiya was just trapped, he was still a little bit more comfortable. The mere control skills do not affect his commander's armor at all. Then Hokia realized something was wrong. This chain, even if the commander's armor is weakened, is still not something he can break free. But at this time, Subei condensed the Tanwu Demon Slayer. That unparalleled power made Hachiya's soul fly. With a heart, Hachiya directly activated the self-destruction ability of the commander's armor. In a daze, he pulled the magic binding chain out of the gap and was able to escape. Subei was shocked. What kind of armor is this? It even has this kind of function. It's a bit powerful. However, Subei also found that after breaking free from the chains, Hokia's armor was close to being scrapped and lost its previous luster. Subei immediately smiled and said, "Your armor is still a consumable item." Hachiya couldn't help laughing. This armor is the heavy treasure of the Black Elves, and it was damaged here, and it was a blood loss. Fortunately, he also saved a life because of this, and can continue to fight. It's just that without the commander's armor, Hokia will face the effect of the brilliance of the divine tree, and the action will become slow. The magnitude is not large. But in this level of confrontation, it is fatal. Subei lashed out, slashing several wounds on Hokia's body. Even the stigmata slash exploded twice, causing Hokia to suffer a big loss. In fact, the situation has reached this point, there is no suspense. Although Hokia mobilized the magic, the mighty, destructive force destroyed everything around him. But it can't be helped by Subei and the Wood Elf Queen. Hokia's guards also tried to free their commander. It's a pity that he was killed by the Wood Elf Queen in seconds. How can these guards, who are only at the highest diamond level, be the opponents of the senior queen of Xinyao? Just throw the fury of the forest, and there is nothing left on the scene. When Subei swiped the binding chains again, Hokia could only sit back and wait. Tanwu, destroying demon slash. Bright brilliance flashed above the battlefield. The battle finally came to an end after the area of several kilometers was completely destroyed. Hokia's eyes were about to split, and he watched as Tanwu Slayer approached and chopped off his head, but he couldn't do anything. Except for Hokia's slaying, there was dead silence on the battlefield. Then, the dark race was defeated. The Black Elf, who was fighting desperately with the Wood Elf, turned and retreated. As long as they can return to the islands of the Lighthouse Country, they can quickly withdraw to the Black Elf territory. However, the Wood Elves had obviously received the Queen's explanation before, and they chased after them and captured the Black Elves. On the entire battlefield, there were figures of the dark race running wildly everywhere. It's a pity that the number of Wood Elves is really small. After capturing more than 1,000 Black Elves, the rest all slipped away. As for the servant army, they have long since disappeared. Subei didn't care either. He believed that there would be slave traders. Just buy it right away. In addition, on this super island, there are a large number of aborigines, and they will also destroy the captives of these fleeing servants. The offensive of the Black Elves was shattered, and although the Wood Elves suffered heavy losses, the background was still there. Next, their sky guards will go out to support other aboriginal people and cleanse the dark people. However, the next battle, it has nothing to do with Subei. He was going to see if he could get some more Wood Elves from the Queen of Wood Elves to the island, and then he was going to leave this super island and go back to help Queen Claudia get rid of the demonic energy. After that, while developing the island, he formed his sea fleet. Then go and kill all the island owners of the Lighthouse Country and the nearby waters. While thinking about it, the Wood Elf Queen next to her said, "Your Excellency, on behalf of the Wood Elves, I pay tribute to your helping hand." 35 Sube put away the dragon Yin sword, turned to look at the elegant and dignified wood elf queen, and said with a smile, "Queen Dukaya is very polite." Dukaya smiled and said, "The war situation has not subsided yet. When the Dark Clan remnants are defeated, my clan will respectfully invite your excellency to be a guest." 99 Sube nodded, "Then I'll be waiting for the driver." After finishing speaking, the two returned to the base camp and began to take command to clear the remnants of the Dark Tribe. As for Hokaya's body, Sube didn't forget to take it with him. This is evidence of propaganda of force. When the time comes to put Hokaya's head on the island, it will definitely be bluffing. Then again, why didn't I see Blaze's head? Hokaya's lieutenant was also missing. Sube was thoughtful. It seemed that the adjutant took Blaze's head back in advance, reassuring the new Black Elf King. I just don't know what the new king's expression will be when the news of the defeat comes back. It is estimated that the heart of eating people has it. Collecting his thoughts, Sube landed on the island. The crowd gathered around to congratulate Sube on another powerful enemy and a new achievement. Sube received everyone's congratulations, and immediately let the Sky Guard, the trap camp and a Black Elf opposition land to fight and hunt down the remnants of the Dark Tribe. The rest of the troops rested on the spot. The regional mission of the island world is not over yet. It is necessary to completely quell the battle here before it will be settled. But it's not in a hurry. After all, the biggest enemy, Hokaya, has been hacked to death by him. The settlement can only be done once the Dark race has been defeated and escaped from this area. This time, let's not say much. Just get a diamond-level treasure chest easily. If you are lucky, you might get a star-level. That couldn't be better. Sube looked around, overlooking the entire island. The main island is well preserved and has not been affected much. That is, there are traces of battle in the edge area. The main offense and defense are concentrated on the 3 fortress islands. The 4th fortress also had a few enemy invasions, but it was blocked by the Shark Clan. In this battle, although the number of enemies was large, the intensity was not as strong as the attack of the Black Elf opposition. The individual strength is too low. Clearing the battlefield, treating the wounded, there is so much to do. This is a busy 3 hours. The Sky Guards, evil shadow werewolves and black elves sent by Sube return one after another. They brought back many prisoners. This is also explained by Sube deliberately. The island needs to further expand its strength, and Dark Tribe captives are essential. With the return of these troops, Sube also finally received a notification from the island world of King Zhao. The regional task is completed. The reward has been settled. Get the star treasure chest. The regional task is completed. The reward has been settled. Get the star treasure chest. The regional task is completed. The reward has been settled. Get the star treasure chest. The 3 announcements made Sube's mood happy. Immediately, he opened the treasure chest. Inside is a ring with a dark ruby tail. "See, my lord. Ring of Dominance, shining stars in the middle grade, make the target surrender, cannot act on the target whose level exceeds its own 210 times a day. Does not solve the problem. But with the Ring of Domination, there is a compromise. With the Ring of Dominance on, Sube came to the captured captives, and with a wave of his hand, these dark races knelt down in unison. Just a few words, but it solved Sube's biggest problem at this stage. Perfect, quite perfect. Those with lower levels are controlled by the Ring of Domination, and those with higher levels are fixed with loyalty items. He has captured many prisoners of the Dark race, but the number of entries is limited. Advertisement Chapter 294. Go to the Wood Elf Territory, the palace on the wreck of the World Tree. There were more than 700 prisoners who were taken back, with different origins. But at this time, they all swore their loyalty to Sube, and their eyes were frenzied. With Sube's current Platinum Intermediate level, there is no prisoner with a higher level than him on the scene, so he doesn't need to use the power of the entry at all. Even the remaining 600 Black Elves who did not have a fixed entry also knelt on the ground. They are also unable to resist the power of the Ring of Domination. Sube became more and more satisfied. After that, he can extract the power of the system and use it to strengthen combat troops and existing plants. Not all of them need to be used to ensure captive loyalty. The difference here Sube couldn't be more clear. This is the real use of the entry system. The stronger. Instead of spending it on trivial things. Collecting his thoughts, Sube asked Cantor to take the Black Elves and the captives to the fourth fortress to rest. The only flaw of the Ring of Domination may be that it cannot suppress the demonic energy of the Dark Race. Unlike the entry, it can seal the magic energy in the Dark Clan's body and cannot affect the surrounding. All I can say is that everything has pros and cons. Afterwards, Sube asked the trap camp to move out again, and then brought back some prisoners. With the Ring of Domination, you can't be idle. The Skyguard will act together with the trap faction. Without Violet's company, the trap camp would be killed by wood elves or aborigines on the way. Then it's not worth the loss. Cantor, these Black Elves don't have to go. They are too hateful, and even with Violet by their side, they cannot guarantee safety. If you are surrounded and killed by wood elves, then the fun will be great. Everyone took their orders and started a new round of work. By the time the second batch of prisoners was captured, it was already evening. The 500 trapped camp was stunned to bring back 1,002 prisoners. Sube was stunned. This efficiency is too strong. However, the dark people who were caught were all servants, and they belonged to the kind of soy sauce. Although they numbered 1,002, they were absolutely no match against 500 evil shadow werewolves and 300 wood elves. After being killed by hundreds, the rest surrendered and followed to the island. With a wave of the domination ring, these servants all knelt. All of them were sent to the fourth fortress to be temporarily stationed. This time, the fifth and sixth fortresses are definitely going to be built, but we have to wait for everything to be completed and then replan. As night fell, the fighting intensity on the super island gradually subsided. The defeated Dark Race hid and did not dare to show their faces. But sooner or later they would be found out by the angry Wood Elves and killed on the spot. No matter how good-tempered the Wood Elves are, they will show their iron-blooded methods even when their homes are destroyed by war. Although it was only a cursory glance, Sube also saw that within the defense line of the Wood Elves, the forest was basically charred. The Black Elf was really ruthless and set fire to the forest directly. If it weren't for the Wood Elves fighting the fires everywhere, it is estimated that the whole BHCF super island would be set on fire. But anyway, at least the war was won. The Wood Elves suffered heavy casualties, but the Black Elves were not much better. A whole army of 10,000 people will eventually be able to return. I am afraid not even 2,000. Apart from the 4,000 troops of the Black Elf opposition, the remaining 6,000 were all subordinates of the new king. Losing 4,000 here, the internal turmoil is estimated to be enough for him to drink a pot. On top of that, the new Black Elf commander, Hojia, was beheaded by Sube. This is the biggest loss. Sube guessed that when the new Black Elf king fully consolidated his rule, he would definitely come for revenge. But Sube doesn't care, just come. After a while, his strength increased again, and even the new Black Elf king could be hacked to death. On the first night after the war, time was spent dealing with the endgame. Sube was not idle either, wandering around, helping the wounded to absorb the eroding magic energy. Tired is a little tired, but the harvest is quite good. These demonic she gathered together, making Sube's strength a little higher. After each war is over, the subsequent processing work is extraordinarily time-consuming. After parting with Queen Decaya, Sube didn't hear from the Wood Elves for 2 days in a row. However, the location of the island can see the movement of the Wood Elves. They are clearing forest ruins, removing dead trees and replanting them. Including the charred soil, it was also collected and moved away. In addition, the Wood Elves Sky Guards were dispatched to kill the defeated army of the Dark Tribe. After this war, this super island will usher in a long period of peace. It will be the third day when the Wood Elves have finished processing. During this period, the post-war work on the island has been basically completed. A grand ceremony was also held for the victims to see them off. In the 2 battles, the number of victims on the island exceeded 300. The loss is absolutely unprecedented. The victims are concentrated in the evil shadow werewolf, the shark clan, the merman and the human psychic. Mermaids and wood elves and black elves are fine. And in these 3 days, The total number of prisoners of the dark race on the island has exceeded 3,000. Among them were 1,000 black elf captives sent by the Wood Elves. In addition to taking captives with the Ring of Domination, Sube also refreshed fixed entries for the Black Elves one after another. The number of Black Elves on his island now exceeds 2,000. Basically, all the remnants of the Black Elves were gathered. With the blessing of the entry, these Black Elves will become the swordsmen in the hands of Sube. Any enemy will be completely destroyed by them. But building the Black Elf chapter will take time. After all, 2,000 Black Elves and 3 entries were fixed by hand. This was not something that could be done in 1 or 2 days. Sube is not in a hurry either. The battle is over. Digesting and absorbing the spoils is the right way. In the midst of this busyness, the Wood Elf Sky Guard arrived at the island and invited Sube to be a guest. The Wood Elves have finally cleaned up the ruins and can receive friends. Naturally, Sube would not object, and took the strong men under his command to the Wood Elves' territory. The Sky Guard danced in the air. On the ground, the Wood Elves crossed the road to welcome them. Sube's bravery. The Wood Elves are inside. Although he is human, he still has the worship of Wood Elves. With the record of beheading Hokia, even the stubborn Wood Elves couldn't pick out the thorns. Sube brought everyone to the Wood Elves' palace. But this palace is built on a tree stump. In the depths of the Wood Elves' territory, there is a section of wooden stakes dozens of meters high and thousands of meters in diameter. The palace of Queen Dakaya was built on this stump. Sube was quite shocked. A tree stump is that size. What a magnificent scene it would have been when the entire giant tree was still there. The canopy might even cover the entire super island. When he whispered behind her, "Island owner, this is the remnant of the world tree. The ancestors of the entire elves were all born in the world tree, and later evolved into various branches." Sube nodded. He had heard of this too. The elves were born after the world tree and have evolved for thousands of years. Branches such as wood elves, mountain elves, and black elves emerged. In the end, in the Battle of Gods, the world tree was interrupted. This stump is the remnant of the world tree. Wood elves live here, but it is normal. After all, this is a real home for them. While thinking about it, everyone walked up the steps and came to the main entrance of the palace. Queen Dakaya, dressed up, is waiting here. In terms of appearance and temperament, only Queen Claudia of the mermaid family can compare with her. The other thing is to say that Queen Temperament is the most attractive place. The crowd came to the hall. Queen Dakaya expressed her gratitude as usual, and sent a lot of gifts. The gifts of the wood elves are mainly of various plants, and there are also many hippogriff. Sube always felt a strong sense of sight. It was the same scene when he went to the mermaid palace. Next, it's time to chat in the back garden. While thinking about it, Sube heard Queen Dakaya say, "Everyone, please follow me to the side hall. The banquet is ready." Sube breathed a sigh of relief. Luckily it wasn't a one-on-one interview. Advertisement Chapter 295 Dkaya's request. The banquet of wood elves is characterized by lightness. Sube reckoned that if it weren't for taking care of their guests, he probably wouldn't have even the slightest bit of meat. Looking around, in addition to fruit, Fortunately, the fruit wine brewed by the wood elves was also well known, and the dwarves such as Heshlet were so happy to drink it that their faces turned red. Instead of stopping them, Sube told them to let go. After so many battles, you have to enjoy yourself. This banquet has a very relaxed atmosphere. There was no formal banquet, but food and wine were placed there, and you could take what you wanted to eat. Sube didn't eat much, but found Queen Dakaya and chatted in the corner of the banquet hall. He has many questions to answer. The biggest doubt came from the arrival of Norma and others. How Dakaya was sure that Norma and the others could arrive safely at his island. At the same time, why would he ask him if there are dark races on his island? These two problems are, in the final analysis, the same problem. That is Dakaya's ability. From the data panel, Sube found out that Dakaya has a profession called Astromaster. Perhaps it was the end of the war and the burden on her shoulders was finally lifted. Dakaya seemed a little excited. After drinking a few glasses of fruit wine, her face flushed red. Sube pondered for a moment and asked, "Queen Dakaya, I have a question that I can't understand, and I hope you can answer it for me." Although Dakaya's face was flushed, Her thinking was very clear, and she said with a chuckle, "It's Norma and the others." "That's right." Subei nodded and said truthfully, "With the previous offensive of the Dark Clan, Norma and the others all have gold-level strength, and it is not so easy to reach the island safely. And Norma's problem has me very concerned." Queen Dakaya seemed to have guessed that Subei would ask such a question. Her expression was very calm, and she asked leisurely, "By your means, you should know that I have the ability to be an astrologist." Subei nodded. Dakaya explained, "In a sense, an astrologer is a prophet, and I used astrology to help Norma and the others determine the way forward. This is a reasonable explanation. But that doesn't explain Norma's inquiry." Dakaya went on to say, "I don't know what your views on fate are. Destiny?" Subei was a little puzzled, but still said, "I personally don't believe it, but as far as I know, in the island world, whether it's your aborigines or the dark race, they all mention fate." Dakaya smiled. In an instant, Subei felt that the world around him lit up. "This queen is indeed stunning in the world." Queen Dakaya sighed and said, "Don't worry, everything in this world is yours in the end." 39 Subei pondered for a moment, then said, "I probably understand. You used astrology to obtain some kind of prophecy." After investigation and calculation, it was preliminarily determined that I was the candidate? Dakaya nodded. "As expected of you, you can easily understand." 99 Subei scratched his hair and said with some embarrassment, "Queen Dakaya, it's not that I don't want to believe it, but what you said is really too mysterious." Dakaya expressed her understanding and didn't say much, just said, "Your Excellency, don't worry too much, the Wood Elves will always support you." This is good news. Subei immediately forgot about fate and the like. That thing is too ethereal, or the real benefits are more important. During the chat, Subei remembered that Claudia gave him a necklace before, took it out of his pocket and put it in front of Dakaya, and smiled. Claudia also said that the Wood Elves are arrogant, so let me bring a token. Now it seems that it is completely useless. Dakaya covered her mouth and chuckled and asked, "Claudia didn't tell you the origin of this necklace?" Subei replied, "It said that it was a small item to carry, and nothing else, and I don't think this chain is high-grade equipment." As the queen of the Wood Elf, Dakaya had already calculated her self-restraint, and she couldn't help but want to roll her eyes when she heard this. This man is extremely powerful, but in some places he is really slow. Of course, Claudia also had problems. Half-talking. Dakaya didn't break it, but just pushed the necklace back in front of Subei, and said with a smile, "Since you don't need it, you can put it away and return it to Claudia when you have a chance." Subei thought about this and put the necklace away. After chatting for a while, Dakaya said, "I want to send 3 more Skyguard squadrons to be stationed on your island, which can be regarded as saving hope for my clan. My clan has been severely damaged and cannot mobilize more people. Please forgive me." Subei immediately said, "The queen is very kind. There are 6 squadrons in total, that's enough." The combat power of the Skyguard has already been displayed incisively and vividly in the battle. The absolute king of the sky. When the high-level entry is fixed, the combat power can still increase. And their hippogriphs can also fix entries. Ask for flowers. Mastering air superiority is the foundation of naval warfare. Subei increasingly felt that his carrier formation could be planned. But the manpower problem gave him some headaches. Dakaya said at the right time, "Your Excellency, on this land, there are several dwarf tribes whose homes were destroyed by the dark tribes and need a place to live." 99 Subei took this responsibility decisively and said, "My island is quite big, and you are welcome to come and play at any time." 35 Dakaya nodded, "I will pass the word to them. It is estimated that more than 1,000 dwarves will choose to go. More than 1,000 dwarves." Subei's heart immediately filled with happiness. He can announce that the forge will take off on the spot and directly expand 3 times its size. Existing tasks, including energy cannon casting, equipment forging, attack ship building, and battleship repair, can be carried out simultaneously, and the progress will be further accelerated. And the surprise brought by Dakaya is not over yet. In addition to the dwarves, There are some tribes who are also willing to transfer to your island. DKI smiled and said, Your Excellency's feat of beheading Hachia has already convinced them. Su-bei waved his hand and said with a smile, You can come. I'm just worried that the island is too empty. This is not Su-bei bragging, but it is. The Earth orb increases by 3 square kilometers every day. If it were spread out, it would be 3 kilometers long and 1 kilometer wide. It's already vast. On the contrary, the growth rate of island members cannot keep up with the area expansion rate. This time, when I came to the super island of the Wood Elves, Su-bei also wanted to shake people. To develop an island rapidly, population is essential. Now DKI says that the Aboriginal people here have this intention. It would be better. Even the weakest Aboriginal people have no problem getting them to farm. Anyway, the island of Su-bei stops on the river, and the Aborigines who want to come can just go directly. The nearby dark tribes have been cleaned, and there is no need to worry about being attacked. Su-bei decided to open up the 5th and 6th fortresses after returning home to house new residents. While thinking about it, DKI said, When Your Excellency came, you should have seen the remains of the world tree under the palace. The topic turned a little too fast, and Su-bei didn't react. DKI went on to say, Your Excellency Su-bei, as the Queen of Wood Elves, I formally request you to help my clan reshape the world tree. 5 Dry. Advertisement. Chapter 296, is alive, but it doesn't seem to be alive. DKI's expression was solemn and serious. But what he said made Su-bei's face bewildered. How could he be able to reshape the world tree? As a platinum intermediate, Su-bei felt a lot of pressure. He has a duty to fight, but asking him to reshape the world tree is not a bit professional. Restraining his mind, Su-bei said, Queen DKI, if I can, I'd be willing to help, but after thinking about it, it shouldn't be possible at this stage. DKI was very calm, smiled and said, Don't worry, Your Excellency, you can definitely do it. Please come with me. 35 After speaking, DKI slowly got up, and at the same time stretched out her hand to make an inviting gesture. Su-bei's heart skipped a beat. Well, in the end, I can't escape the end of the chat alone. But Su-bei was not wrong, got up and followed. I vaguely heard Winnie's concerned voice, Islander, pay attention to your body. Su-bei slapped back in annoyance. Winnie blushed slightly, and immediately retreated. DKI, who led the way, smiled and said, Your Excellency and the mermaid family are really close. Su-bei 770 blushed. This is the territory of the Wood Elves, so we still have to be more restrained. The two left the banquet and walked deep into the palace. The further he went, the more Su-bei felt that something was wrong. How is this going underground? Strictly speaking, it can't be considered underground. Rather, it is the center of the remains of the world tree. After walking for a while, Su-bei found that there were more wood elves hiding in the dark. The breath is very light. If you don't feel it carefully, it's easy to ignore their existence. In terms of grades, the lowest is platinum. There are also several diamond grade breaths in it. DKI introduced, These are world tree guards, and the only task is to defend here and kill the invaders. Su-bei nodded. Speaking of which, he also found a similar unit in the Mermaid Palace. It seems that these Aborigines have a lot of secrets. But Su-bei didn't care too much. The history of the island world is more than 10,000 years, and it is normal to have a little secret. Just don't threaten his island. Su-bei and DKI spiraled down the steps and finally stopped in a hollow. In the soft light, Su-bei saw a massive withered wood. The hole is spherical, with a diameter of about 3 meters. Also, according to Su-bei's perception. In the shadows around, there are at least 5 diamond level and 30 platinum level wood elves. This battle has made it clear that this mass of wood is not a mortal thing. Su-bei took a closer look. Broken heart of the tree. The heart of the world tree has basically died. The heart of the tree wasn't completely dead, but it wasn't far off. After pondering for a moment, Su-bei said, Queen DKI's request, I understand. As long as this tree heart regains its vitality, then the world tree will be reborn sooner or later. That's what it means. DKI looked expectant and said, Your Excellency is right. Can you do it? Su-bei thought for a while, then said truthfully, Not necessarily, I'll try. In fact, this is just a rhetoric. Sube has refreshed the entry for Shooks and just now. Orange light flashes. There is no mythical entry, which makes Sube feel a little pity. If it is mythical, it is really possible to regenerate the world tree. But now, it's a long way off. Natural condensation. Restore the world tree's ability to condense. Elves. Sube nodded secretly. As the mother tree of the elves, the world tree should have the ability to condense. Elves. It's just that a stake was left after being beaten before, and it is estimated that the ability has also disappeared. The number of elves cannot grow rapidly. Natural birth alone is hopeless. The long lifespan of the elves is destined to have little interest in their offspring. Live too long, see through many things. Quite a state of hopelessness. Sube calmed down. Treeheart can refresh 3 entries, and he is going to refresh them all to see what can come out. If the world tree can be rescued, then things will be interesting. Maybe the wood elves will all surrender to their subordinates. Dark people also have a lot of headaches. As for DKI, there is no need to worry. Sube can fix the entry at any time and subdue it. However, for the sake of safety, this option was not chosen. But when it really comes to the critical moment, it is time to start. Today's entries have fixed opportunities, but they are all left untouched. After pondering for a moment, Sube said, I'll try to restore a little of the tree's heart first. 995. Sube didn't fix the entry directly, but took a precautionary shot first to avoid doubts in Dkia's heart. Dkia smiled softly, Your Excellency, just do it, no need to worry. Sube thought for a while, and smiled relievedly. The wood elf queen in front of her is an astrologist, possessing the sky-defying skill of astrology. Perhaps everything is now what she expected. However, according to Sube's calculations, the information that Dkia can obtain is definitely not complete. The system is something she can't calculate. Dkia knows at most that Sube has something to do with the recovery of the world tree. But by what means to restore it, it is impossible to determine. Concentrating his mind, Sube chooses a fixed entry. An invisible force emerges in the heart of the withered tree. Around the heart of the tree, a phantom appeared. Vaguely humanoid. If you look closely, it is a virtual version of the wood elf. Dkia's eyes were red. The efforts of several generations of wood elf queens, countless day and night expectations. The heart of the world tree they were watching finally bloomed again. The fluctuations in the heart of the world tree spread, and all the wood elves burst into tears. This feeling is indescribable in words. It seems that they are the wood elves who have returned to their mother's arms. Dkia wiped the corners of her eyes and said excitedly, I knew that the prophecy would not go wrong. Your Excellency is the hope to lead our family to the future. Sube also noticed that the wood elves in the shadows were also bowing to him to express their gratitude. Sube accepted it calmly. He can be regarded as helping the wood elves a big favor, and this kind of etiquette is still bearable. A legendary entry has such an effect. Sube is ready to make persistent efforts. It is best to add 2 legendary entries and fill them up to see what the effect will be. Collecting his thoughts, Sube said, I'll try again. Dkia, naturally, would not object. Refresh. Still, the orange glow, soul reception, legendary level, returning the soul of the wood elf to peace. This entry is rather vague. It seems to be very strong, and it seems to be useless at all. But Sube is still ready to fix. Anyway, this is the world tree of the elves, not his, just mess around. Just don't blow up. Fixed. The familiar fluctuations spread, and Dkia's expression became more and more shocked. It was a sense of peace that emerged from the depths of the soul. Their wood elves are no longer confused. Sube kept moving and refreshed again. Still the orange glow. Passing the crown, legendary, regain the glory of the world tree and pass it on to new individuals. This entry is still unclear. Sube didn't want to think about how many world trees there were. Anyway, just fixed it. After 3 legendary entries, if this tree heart is not alive, then you can't blame him. After the 3rd legendary entry was fixed, Dkia looked at Sube and became quite sure. It is him. The savior who can save the wood elves in the prophecy must be him. Sube clapped his hands and sighed, come on. Dkia immediately stepped forward to help him wipe the sweat on his forehead and said softly, "Thank you, Your Excellency." Bei said modestly that he was okay. Then, Bei circled the heart of the world tree twice, pinched his chin and said, "I feel like it's alive, and it doesn't seem to be. Even with the blessing of 3 legendary entries. The biggest difference between the tree heart and the beginning may be that the ability to condense wood elves has been restored. Dki was very calm, walked to the side and said pointedly, "The seeds of hope have been sown." Bei was still pondering, when he heard Dki say, "Your Excellency must be tired. Why don't you come with me to rest for a while, and let me use up the friendship of the landlord?" Bei felt a little regretful. But according to Bei's perception, the heart of the tree has not been found to have a strong vitality enhancement. Anyway, he did his best. But there is still a long way to go before recovery. If a mythical entry is written, maybe the world tree will really come alive. It can only be said that it is out of the state of being able to die at any time. Now it seems that this is the only way to make do. Advertisement Chapter 297 The Wood Elf Queen wants a son. Leaving the hollow area where the heart of the tree was, Bei found that it was not the way back to the banquet. Just wondering if Dki went wrong, Dki stopped. Bei looked up. The surrounding layout is similar to the bedroom. If nothing else, it was where Dki slept. But what to bring him here? Bei was suddenly alert and asked, "Queen Dki, did we go wrong?" Dki blushed as if dripping blood, and said like a mosquito, "No, it's not wrong." "Why?" Bei was puzzled and said, "If I rescue the wood elves, but the gift from the queen can make up for it." Dki was heartbroken, urging magic to tie Bei directly, "Please forgive me." 99 Bei raised his head and sighed. Thinking of him, the flowers were planted in Dki's hands. But Dki didn't want to hurt him, but simply didn't let him run away. Bei didn't want to fight either, just shattered the limiting skills on his body, grabbed Dki's waist, and said, "I personally tend to be more proactive." Dki didn't dare to raise her shy head. Seeing her like this, Bei knew that she couldn't ask anything for the time being. Just have to wait until later. Don't let Dki know how powerful she is, she will hide it like this. As a senior star powerhouse, Dki's strength is beyond doubt. Bei also had to use all her powers to compete with her. If you are not careful, you will be suppressed. When the magic power turbulence subsided, the palace was already devastated by an 18th level storm, and few intact furniture could be found. Bei said regretfully, "Those furniture are worth a lot of money. The elves have extremely high artistic talent, and the items they make can sell for high prices on Blue Star, and are very popular with the rich. Not to mention the furniture used by the Queen of the Wood Elf. It is even more refined. The result is now all in pieces." Dki shrank her head under the quilt and did not dare to show her head, but only showed her big watery eyes and whispered, "If you like, take a few craftsmen back and make a special set." This look made Bei's heart fiery. The war is on again. The furniture that had survived finally failed to escape the bad luck and was completely broken into pieces of wood. When the magic turmoil subsided, Bei stroked Dki's hair and asked, "Won't you come with me?" 35 Dki shook her head and replied, "I am the Queen of the Wood Elf and cannot leave here." Bei felt irritable for no reason. Dki was very open and said, "Don't worry, I'll be fine here." Bei choked. How could it be okay? Although Hokia was beheaded, the new king of the Black Elf is still there, and that guy is the top of Xinjiao. 35 Dki covered her mouth and chuckled, reached out and lightly rubbed Bei's eyebrows, and said shyly, "I have calculated his movements. In a short period of time, the new king of the Black Elf will not leave the territory. When he really comes, there must be a way to deal with it. Let's talk about another thing first. According to the prophecy, there will be a holy son who will inherit your blood, and I think more efforts are needed." 99 Although he knew that Dki was changing the subject, Bei couldn't do anything about her. He couldn't tie Dki back to the island. It is estimated that the Wood Elves will have to hunt him down to the ends of the earth. And what Dki said was right. She is the Queen of Wood Elves, and there are tens of thousands of people waiting for her to guide her forward. Sube couldn't make Dakaya embarrassed because of his own selfishness. As for the new king of the Black Elf, who will not be killed for the time being, it is estimated that it is the result of Dakaya's astrology deduction, which is quite reliable. Thinking about it, Sube reacted. What did Dakaya just say? Has the son, or inherited his bloodline? Sube supported his chin and said thoughtfully, I'm a tool, man. Dakaya smiled lightly. Sube also laughed. It really takes effort. While Sube worked hard, in the banquet hall, the wood elves also recovered from their previous shock. Feeling the vitality of the heart of the world tree, the joy of the wood elves, cannot be hidden. Even in this battle, they sacrificed a lot of clansmen. But as long as the world tree has the possibility of being reborn, there is hope for the continuation of the ethnic group. The atmosphere of the banquet became more and more cheerful. When he got together and discussed Sube's whereabouts, Eve tasted the fruit wine and said casually, it must be with the Queen of Wood Elf. Helena thought for a moment, then said, I think the Wood Elf Queen has no plans. Nymeria said, the Queen is a senior of Xenial, and she is in charge of the entire Wood Elves. Is there anything she lacks? It should be nothing. No. Baywai pondered for a long time, and then said amazingly, could it be that the Queen wants a descendant? Jahui nodded in agreement. They had similar missions before, so they thought so. Puff. Everyone who was drinking fruit wine sprayed. Winnie wiped the corners of her mouth and coughed. It shouldn't be. The descendants of the Wood Elf Queen must be pure-blood elves, otherwise how will they inherit the throne? Helena was thoughtful. She is a mountain elf, and strictly speaking, she is of the same origin as the Wood Elf. Vaguely, she felt that the Wood Elf Queen really had such a plan. Helena looked at Eve and asked, is this possible? 39. Eve calculated for a moment and nodded, yes. 35. A few people around took a deep breath. It really is. Winnie's shocked mouth couldn't close. After a while, she noticed a gaffe and quickly regained her posture. At the same time, she said, this matter must not be publicized, otherwise I am afraid that the island owner will not be able to leave the Wood Elves' territory. 39. Helena said angrily, that's what the island owner deserves. 35. Dueling interjected next to her, what if the Wood Elf Queen is the first to get there? Forehead. Everyone knew what Dueling was talking about, and they hesitated at the moment. Yup. If the Wood Elf Queen comes to the fore, the fun will be great. Lynchia Ion looked distressed, it's been so long, there's no movement at all, what's the problem? Helena said with relief, the stronger the strength, the lower the probability of having offspring. With the potential of the island owner, the difficulty is full. The crowd was suddenly full of bitterness. How can this be good? However, the news of Helen 770 made everyone feel a little relieved. The Queen of Wood Elf is a senior of Xenial, and it is even more difficult for her to achieve her goal. How could it be so coincidental that it succeeded once? After leaving this super island, the Wood Elf Queen would struggle to see the island owner, and it would be even more difficult. Dueling clapped her hands and concluded, don't be too nervous, the Wood Elf Queen can only be regarded as a minor accident, it will not affect the overall situation, and the initiative is still in our hands. Everyone nodded in agreement. That's right, they have more opportunities to get along with the island owner. How could it be possible to lose to the Wood Elf Queen? Non-existent. When Sube appeared in front of the crowd again, he found that everyone's eyes were a bit wrong. Looks like he wants to devour him alive. Sube coughed and said, we will stay here for one night and return to the island tomorrow with the new Sky Guard. Helena said, Islander, stay for 2 more days. Sube's expression was slightly tangled. Eve immediately said angrily, HMPH, it really is a big pig's hoof. 5. Sube laughed dryly, not daring to arbitrarily argue. They are now at the juncture of eruption, and they can't hit the muzzle themselves. Fortunately, Yvette was considerate and said, don't say that, the island owner must have difficulties. Sube casts an admiring look. Still the cute mermaid understands him. Not far behind Yvette, Winnie and the others showed a winning smile. With them as staff, Yvette couldn't possibly lose. From this, Their mermaid clan is sure to win. Advertisement: if you're listening to this novel on a channel other than Fanfic World, it means they downloaded and uploaded it without effort. We cordially invite you to visit our channel, Mundo Fanfic Novelist. There you'll find the original version of this story and you can explore many other novels of various genres. We are waiting for you to immerse yourself in a world of incredible novels. Chapter 298, Back to the Island and the Agreement. While Sube was chatting with everyone, Queen Dikaya also reappeared. Compared to before, at this time, Dikaya's brows stretched a lot, radiant, and she seemed to have found her direction again. Du Ling and others immediately looked at Sube. Although he did not speak, everything was silent. Sube turned his attention decisively and avoided the battle first. This is called a tactical retreat. However, Du Ling and others had to admit that the charm of Queen Dikaya was irresistible, and they could not raise their grievances. Dikaya returned to the banquet, sat down at the main seat, and then announced that a new sky guard would be dispatched to the island. The Wood Elves had no objection. Many squadron leaders even took the initiative to ask Ying, expressing their willingness to go to the island. Sube's magic was already engraved in their minds. Killing Ho Chia in a frontal battle was too brilliant and dazzling. Following such a strong man will not bury the glory of the Wood Elves. And the Queen also contributed to this, so there is no need to worry about it. The banquet goes from day to night. During this period, Sube also took time to return to the island to refresh the fixed entries. Afterwards, he returned to the Wood Elf Palace and discussed the matter of the sun with Dikaya in depth. Fragments of furniture in their bedroom have been cleaned, but not replaced. Sube estimated that the palace would not be rearranged until after they left. When the battle was over, Sube stroked Dikaya's hair and sighed inwardly. This Wood Elf Queen can bring him new surprises every time. Sube felt like he was going to miss the island. Dikaya rested for a while, took out a skill book from under the pillow, and said, "There are not many records of my clan about the slaughtering warriors. These are the only 2 skill books. You accept it?" Sube took the skill book, did not study it directly, but asked with a smile, "Is this your dowry?" Dikaya tapped Sube's arm and said coquettishly, "Don't talk nonsense." Sube turned his gaze back to the skill book with difficulty. This Wood Elf Queen, unlike the appearance, is quite predictable inside. But then again, with the heritage of the Wood Elves, there are only 2 skill books, and the profession of slaughtering warriors is too miserable. Is it worthy of the SSS level evaluation? Concentrating his mind, Sube looked at the skill book in his hand. Slaying demons in 100 battles, top grade diamonds, increased damage to demons. The Demon Slayer itself has a damage bonus to demonized monsters, and now it has gone a step further and increased the damage to demons. Sube took the skill book in his hand and asked, "I haven't heard much about the demon family. Have they ever appeared in the island world?" Dikaya supported her chin and replied, "The world the devil lives in is called Abyss. At the beginning, it was connected with the island world, and the passage was sealed by the gods later. However, the demonic energy that was transmitted sporadically is still affecting this world." Knowing the source of the magic energy, here is also an unexpected harvest. After pondering for a moment, Sube said, "So, the threat of the abyss has not been completely eradicated?" Dikaya nodded, "It should be." Speaking of this matter, Dikaya's expression was a little worried and said, "According to the results of astrology, the passage between the abyss and the island world will be reopened, and a new war is coming." Sube clicked his tongue. The island world is really troubled. Thinking of this, Sube thought of the changes Shen Qingling had said at the beginning. Shouldn't that be the case? While thinking about it, Sube felt that Dikaya was beginning to get restless, and immediately put the devil's affairs behind him. No matter what they do, the devil will come as soon as he wants, and the big deal will be directly hacked to death. I have survived so many battles, and I am not afraid of more demons. Now, I still have to subdue Dikaya first. This Wood Elf Queen, relying on the advanced strength of Xinyao, recovered extremely fast and was very arrogant. This is something Sube can't bear. Early in the morning, Sube woke up with a smug look on his face. Dikaya was still sleeping. In this way, He is still superior. Picking up the skill book next to him, Sube refreshed it directly. The orange light instantly filled the entire field of vision. Sube is very satisfied. A legendary entry came early this morning, and the system was very sensible. Devil Buster, legendary level, increased damage to demons, and item level is upgraded to Star Shining middle grade. Sube wondered if the demon was coming, and even the system had to strengthen his ability to fight the demon again. But when the devil comes, it is not within Sube's control. What he can do is to refresh the second and third entries in the skill book. Refresh. The effect is slightly worse, with only epic entries. Magic pressure control, epic level, increase damage to demonized monsters, and upgrade item level to the best of stars. Body of 100 battles, epic level, improve basic attributes, and upgrade item level to supreme low grade. 2 epic level entries, one has an attribute. This is the most worthy of celebration. The 3 entries were all fixed, and the skill book in his hand became more and more simple, and the exuded aura awakened Dekaya. But Dekaya didn't seem surprised, just looked at Sube tenderly. Sube directly learned the skill book and felt the new power flowing through his limbs. The other is to say, the improvement of basic attributes is the most intuitive. Sube suppressed Dekaya and said, "This new force needs to be adapted." Dekaya's cheeks were slightly red, and she nodded obediently. "It's all up to you." In the afternoon, everyone packed up and prepared to return to the island. Along with them were 3 squadrons of the Sky Guard, as well as the corresponding wood elf craftsmen. Dekaya still remembers what Sube said before, and specially sent craftsmen to accompany him to help him build furniture. It's not easy for Sube to refuse. In fact, he is not picky about furniture and the like, and he only mentioned it casually before. However, he still felt Dekaya's concern. In addition to the wood elves, the dwarves that Dekaya had mentioned before were also waiting in the line. The total number is more than 1,200. They had already mingled with Heshlet and others. To be precise, it was a deep friendship. Of course there were some elderly and weak women and children, but Sube didn't care and accepted them all. You can't just pick craftsmen and leave their families behind. It's not suitable. Anyway, there are a lot of open spaces on the island, and more than 1,000 dwarves can easily fit it. In addition to the dwarves, there are some other aboriginal people. Gnolls, like spore people, earth monsters, wood spirits, all of them add up to more than 3,000. Sube refused to come, and all accepted the resistance. Dekaya thanked politely and returned. With these aboriginal people, his island is rich and colorful. In front of everyone's eyes, Sube didn't want to be too close, and he still had the identity of the island owner, so he could only walk closer and said sternly, "Queen Dekaya, I put my promise here. The island will always open the door to all the wood elves, and you can come at any time. The new fortress island will not appear empty either. However, as the queen of wood elves, she quickly adjusted her mentality. Departing was imminent, and Dekaya felt a little depressed. This time back, Sube will make drastic changes to the island to make it more suitable for future development. Sube lowered his voice and said, "When my island develops enough to accommodate the entire wood elf territory, we won't have to separate." Dekaya's body trembled and said with a smile, "I'm looking forward to that day." 39 Advertisement Chapter 299 6 Fortress Islands, 3 main island rings. Returning to the island, Sube began to arrange the activity area for the new members. Even if 2 new fortress islands are added, they cannot fully meet the usage requirements. After all, among the aborigines who followed the island this time, there were many weak tribes. They stayed on the fortress island and were affected by the war, and it was estimated that they would be cold. They can only be allocated living areas on the main island. Sube's plan goes like this. First of all, the 5th and 6th fortresses must be built. 6 squadrons of the Sky Guard will be stationed on the 5th fortress. The other nearly 2,000 black elves will be stationed in the 6th fortress. Among them, the 5th fortress is located on the left rear side of the island, next to the island where the mermaid patrol is stationed. The 6th fortress, the island of the black elves, is on the opposite side, Next to the island of the merman and the superhuman. The fourth fortress at the rear is still guarded by the trap camp. The newly captured dark race captives will also be stationed on this fortress island. At the same time, do further planning for the initial 3 fortress islands. The frontmost island is still the activity area of dwarves. More than 1,000 new dwarves will live here and integrate into Heslit. Strong-bodied dwarves will join the forge, in charge of various tasks. The old and weak women and children in the dwarf tribe, together with the tauren, are responsible for the production of leather armor. They may not be able to grab a hammer, but handling leather is no problem. And the leather armor needs to be inlaid with iron pieces, and the hammering work can be done by these dwarves. Not some heavy work. As a result, the number of dwarves is close to 2,000. Taking into account the 770 characteristics of the dwarves being all soldiers, Subei has no additional combat troops stationed. They lift the hammerhead to be a warrior. The dwarf is easy to say. The mermaid patrol base on the left needs to add some fighters. The mermaid's main defense center will be moved to the underwater bastion. In this way, the ground defense of the second fortress is vacant. In fact, not only the second fortress, but also the 5th fortress of the adjacent wood elves, also had this problem. After the Sky Guard took off, there was no one on the ground. After thinking about it, Subei felt that it was necessary to find someone from the Special Affairs team. The target has also been selected. The 35 tauren who joined the island before, the reason why they appeared here is because the tribe failed to harvest. In order to save food for the tribe, they chose to leave their homes. Then, it is completely possible for the special team to find their tribe, bring the news, and get some tauren back. As gentle aboriginal people, tauren are not excluded whether they are mermaids or wood elves. Having them stationed in the 2nd and 5th fortresses would be an excellent complement to the ground combat power. These big guys, fully armed, are all human-shaped tanks, and whoever catches them will be the second. On the other side of the 3rd and 6th fortresses, the situation was better. The merman and the human psychic are in charge of the underwater bastion, and the black elves can disperse their actions and deploy them on the 2 fortress islands to meet them at the same time. Nearly 2,000 black elves can undertake this task. Nothing to worry about here. As for the 4th fortress at the tail, the underwater power is slightly weak. In fact, this is the problem faced by the entire island. The number of ground troops is completely sufficient, but the underwater defense troops are somewhat insufficient. This problem is not difficult to solve. Next, Subei is going to return to the mermaid territory again. You can continue to subdue the merman along the way. After returning to the mermaid territory, to help Queen Claudia solve the problem of demonic erosion, and to ask for a few hundred more mermaids, it will not be a problem. At that time, the underwater troops will also take shape. On the other hand, Subei is going all out to build a water-based energy cannon. This kind of energy cannon can be used underwater, and installing a little more on the underwater bastion can completely make up for the lack of combat troops. After the 6 fortresses are formed, the main island will be completely guarded. Only when the area of the main island is further expanded and the 6 fortresses cannot cover it, does the number of fortresses need to be increased again. But that will take time. In a short period of time, the newly added area was used to repair and expand the new fortress, just right. The fortress is properly arranged, and the next step is the main island. Thousands of new natives were added, and they couldn't stay in the fortress. First, they don't have the ability to fight, and second, they can only play their role by farming. Subei is going to divide the main island into 3 ring areas. The innermost ring is the core area. Including his residence, as well as those plants of the highest grade, such as the wind fairy tree, the mist tree, and the fruit tree of life, are all here. The outer ring is the secondary area. Including the alchemy room and the drawing room, as well as the flower field of the flower fairy. Powerful fruits and high-value special plants will be placed here. In addition, the forest banshee led by Bray will also be active here, and will be equipped with purified holy water. Subsequent original BHCF residents will also select suitable personnel to join this second ring area. The outermost is the 3rd ring area. This is the largest area and surrounds the entire main island. In Subei's plan, This is the common planting area and the main activity area of the Aborigines. In fact, strictly speaking, outside the third ring area, there is also a beach around the island. It is hundreds of meters wide and has fortifications built as a buffer area to prevent the enemy from causing direct damage to the planting area. However, there are 6 fortresses guarding it, and there are only a handful of enemies who can really land on the main island. In this way, the plan of the island is completely formed. One last glance at the Wood Elf territory. Sube ordered to set sail and went out along the river. Different from when you came. This time you return to the voyage and you can drift slowly. Along the way, recruit natives and capture dark captives. With the Ring of Domination, you don't have to worry about the follow-up problem, just get it on the island first. Sube actually wanted to stay with Dakaya for a while. But he knew better that the time had not come. Only when his power grows enough to protect the entire Wood Elves family is the time to truly be together. For now, we can only separate for the time being. Starting from the Wood Elves territory, to sailing out of the super island, the entire sailing time will last 5 days. Going along the ocean currents is always a multiplier. From the outset, various affairs have been steadily advancing. 2 new fortress islands have taken shape, enough to accommodate Wood Elves and Black Elves. The dark captives also settled down in the 4th fortress. With a big wave of his hand, Sube put all these dark tribes in the trap camp. Appointed the Shadow Werewolf Cantor as commander. It is further subdivided into 3 brigades, each with 1,000 people, and 1,000 commander. Further down are the Centurions and the Evens. This enables efficient delivery of commands. But there is a problem here. It is obviously unrealistic for Sube to sit on the main island from beginning to end and issue orders in the follow-up battle. He still has to behead a strong enemy, and he doesn't have that much time. To this end, it is necessary to set up a staff department to be responsible for controlling the battle situation and adjusting the troops. With the spirit of the island, the transmission of orders will be very fast. The staff here makes overall planning, and the soldiers on the front line can receive orders and start changing tactics. This matter cannot be rushed, it can only be planned slowly. When Sube was busy planning the island, he didn't forget to pay attention to the movements of Lulu. If there is to be true convergence, hope will be crucial. Only if the members of the island share a common belief can the estrangement be eliminated. 700 Tauren were also transferred to Sube's island with the assistance of the special team. Then they will help Lulu, and hope will be extended to the entire island. However, according to Lulu's report, the existing 8 cardinal positions are not enough. After much thought, Sube decided to hold the second island meeting, conveying his will to the main powerhouses of the various tribes. All conditions are ripe. All parties settled down. With Sube's support, this thing has already paid off. The second island meeting was held as scheduled. On the 3rd day of the restart. Advertisement Chapter 300 Faith. With the sharp increase in the number of island members, the 100 seats in the last island meeting were obviously not enough. Fortunately, when the conference room was built, this situation was considered, and there was a lot of surplus, so it was enough to rearrange the conference room. On the island now, there are several large-scale tribes alone. Mermaid 500, Mermaid 1,500, Dwarf 2,000, Black Elves 2,000, Wood Elves 600, Black Elves 2,000, Tauren 700, Evil Shadow Werewolf 500. These are the top tribes in both quantity and quality. The rest are similar to forest banshees, sporemen, wood spirits, sharks, and other subservient dark race vassals. Although the number is quite large, in terms of comprehensive strength, it is a little less meaningful. After Sube's replanning, in the island meeting, the 7 tribes, the Mermaid, the Merman, the Dwarf, the Black Elves, the Wood Elves, the Tauren and the Evil Shadow Werewolf, each sent 20 representatives. The remaining tribes are divided into fusion. First, it was divided into 2 parts according to the Aborigines and the Dark People, each with 30 places. These 30 places are subdivided according to the number and strength of each clan, and there is at least 1 place. For example, the Pale Lizards, there are only 20 of them in total, but there is still a quota for them to make their own voices. After the 200 representatives were elected, The island conference started. The first thing Sube mentioned was his plan for the further division of the island. Behind him, on a carefully drawn map, the activity areas of various ethnic groups were marked. Of course, this is just a range. In addition to the core area, which is not allowed to enter and exit at will, the rest of the area, as long as it is not in wartime, is interconnected. Sube also encourages exchanges among all ethnic groups. With the spirit of the island, there is no need to worry about the Aborigines being affected by the demonic energy of the dark race. But Sube knew that it would take time to truly realize the integration of the Aborigines and the dark race. Especially now, most of the newly added island members are controlled by the Ring of Dominance, and the effect is weaker than the fixed entry. Of course, there is no need to worry about their rebellion, but they can't achieve the absolute loyalty of the entry. If I really want to solve this problem, I am afraid that I have to wait for Sube to advance to the star level and completely lift the restrictions on fixed entries. Now, just make do. Fortunately, Sube has established absolute authority, and his words are the code of conduct for everyone. It might be a little difficult to accept each other, at least not to fight. This is enough. For the division of activity areas, all ethnic groups quickly accepted. In fact, before formulating the final regional division, Sube talked with all the tribes, coordinated the opinions of various parties, and finally completed the distribution map. Moreover, in the past few days, all ethnic groups have also settled down in the predetermined area. Now it's just a matter of going through the process and announcing it. Next, the promotion of hope will be the highlight. Still that question. In addition to the fixed entries, the rest of the Aborigines and dark races, if they do not have beliefs, that's all. If they have beliefs, it is not so easy to change. The biggest resistance to implementation comes from inherent beliefs. Even though the gods have not responded, they still have some believers. Some tribes have believed in fixed gods since ancient times. It's difficult to make them change their faces. But no matter how difficult it is to do. Sube's eyes lit up as he swept across the entire venue. As far as the eye can see, everyone expressed their surrender. Sube's prestige is not fixed by the system, but played out. From the very beginning to the present, all powerful enemies have been beheaded by him. Restraining his mind, Sube said, "Lulu, come up." Lulu, who was wearing the Pope's robe, walked to the stage with a holy expression and a frenzy in his eyes. 2 days ago, when Sube found him and said that he would do his best to promote the Hope Conference, Lulu was so excited that he could not sleep all night. His entire life goal now is to spread the brilliance of the Hope Club to every corner of the world. First, let's start with the island. Lulu has been worried about one thing recently. The number of members of the island is increasing, but the newcomers have no faith and do not appreciate the glory of the island owner, which is not acceptable. Sooner or later there will be big problems. But Lulu also knew that this matter could not be pushed forward rudely. As the Pope of the Hope Society, all he can do is to preach silently. The bishops and representatives under his command are also working hard for this. The importance of hope, Sube is well aware of. Be prepared to come forward in person and promote it. Now is the beginning. Lulu stepped onto the stage and stood aside. Sube said, "You are my most trusted friends and most loyal subordinates, and now, I need you to help Lulu and spread hope to the tribe." In the venue, everyone stood up to salute and swore loudly, "My Lord's wish will be fulfilled." The people present are all the most loyal and have fixed entries. They are the strongest of their respective tribes and will assist Lulu. However, even with the help of these people, the promotion of the Hope Conference cannot be achieved overnight. It can only be said that the resistance is much less. After all, whether it is the Aborigines or the dark race, there is a plot of worship of the strong. They will follow in the footsteps of the strong in the clan. If these strong people join the Hope Club, then some new residents of the island will follow suit. Sube waved his hand, motioned everyone to sit down, and then said, "The Pope of the Hope Society, Lulu, will continue to serve as the Pope, and the previous scale will continue to be set up with 8 cardinals." However, Sube changed the subject. This time, the restrictions will be lifted, and these 8 cardinals will be regardless of their origins. Under the cardinal, The archbishop and the deputy also use this form. Anyone who joins is possible. Flowers, whether it is the Aborigines, or the dark race. Whether it is a diamond grade or a black iron grade. As long as you have faith in your heart, you will be answered. Faith is the only criterion. As soon as Sube finished speaking, Lulu shouted excitedly, "Follow the holy proverb." 39 Sube nodded, "Very good, disband." After speaking, he immediately left the stage, giving everyone time to digest the information. Keeping the cardinal seat unchanged is a small ploy. There are 7 tribes with names and names on the island alone. In particular, the mermaids and sharks were the first to follow Sube. They have also fixed entries, and there is no doubt about their loyalty to Sube. Joining the Hope Club is also the most positive. Cardinals appear among them, and the probability is the greatest. Have an innate advantage. But other tribes will certainly not sit idly by. They are also loyal to Sube. How could they not have a channel to speak out? The position of a cardinal must be at least one. As for how to become a cardinal, naturally it is the piety of the faith and the effectiveness of promoting the Hope Club. The delegates at the venue were energized and ready to go back to show their skills. So 2 more days passed. It is hoped that the promotion of the conference will bear fruit. Every morning, the members of the island will start a routine prayer under the leadership of the strong tribe, and then carry out their daily work. Every 7 days, there is a big meeting, where all come together to pray. The quota of 8 cardinals has also been fixed. Mermaid 1, Dwarf 1, Mermaid 2, Wood Elf 1, Black Elf 2, Tauren 1. The appearance of 2 cardinals in the shark did not exceed Sube's expectations. Because the hope will be originated from the merman tribe. Their respect for Sube stems from the initial dark-tide Murloc. The presence of 2 cardinals in the Black Elves was somewhat unexpected. But the list of cardinals is expected to be selected internally. During the selection process, Sube also watched from a distance through Spirit of the Island. No problem. The election of the Black Elf is real and effective. The reason why this happens. It can only be said that in the previous battle, Sube brought an indelible impact on the Black Elf. Both star powerhouses were beheaded by Sube. They have unlimited recognition of Sube's strength, which has been derived from belief. Sube doesn't care too much about the details. Just get the desired result. And the benefits of promoting the Hope Club. Sube also initially realized. Every morning prayer will bring him a little strength improvement. Slight, but stable. And a big party once every 7 days. The effect is more obvious. This is the power of faith. Advertisement. End of this chapter. Thank you very much for reaching the end. Don't forget to like. Looking for more exclusive content and immediate access? Subscribe to our Patreon. Remember, every like, subscription, or donation encourages us to continue. Thanks to everyone. See you in the next video.